This is Gio Woodley, the in-arena voice of the NBA G League's Osceola Magic, and you're listening to a presentation of Shreveport Mudbugs hockey. It's almost time to drop the puck. Let's send it ringside for the Landers Auto Group pregame show with the voice of the Mudbugs, Zach Grant.
For the 8th and final time this season, we've got some crazy hockey coming on as the Shreveport Mudbugs tonight take on the visiting Lone Star Brahmas, final regular season matchup for these two teams. Zach Grant, Duncan Walker here, the Mudbugs warm-up show brought to you by our friends at Landers, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Fiat, live from George's Pond here at Hershey Coliseum. Mudbugs coming off a tough weekend against the New Mexico Ice Wolves a few days ago, dropping both games of the weekend. 5-3 loss on Friday night with 3 third-period goals coming out of a 4-0 deficit before the empty netter made it 5-3. Followed that up a few moments later on Saturday with a tough 3-1 loss. The Bugs got the opening goal that allowed 3 straight unanswered. On the flip side, the Lone Star Brahmas, they come in rolling hot in first place. They're setting the pace in the South Division. They've won 8 straight games, including a sweep of the Oklahoma Warriors. 6-4 victories on Friday and then a 4-3 shootout victory on Saturday. So Lone Star is looking to keep things rolling and kind of fight off a couple of opponents who are chipping away at them in second place, trying to overcome into that top spot in the South Division. Mudbugs are still in the hunt for that final playoff spot in the South Division. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll hear from head coach Jason Soupy Campbell on the other side on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantle and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is Mitchell Reed, and you're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
The most eye-catching thing this season so far has been the balance offensively. Most teams, you look at their leading scorers, they're in the 50 to 60-point range at this point in the year. Our leading scorer has 31 points, so some would look and say, oh, the offense is struggling and whatnot, but it's just a lot of balance.
See, I personally love that. I think that puts us if we can get into the playoffs, I think that puts us in a great position to win a lot of tight hockey games, tight series. What some people may not know here is our first championship team that we had here in Shreveport in the North American Hockey League, our leading scorer had 35 points. And that was like 60th in the league or something like that. And we ended up winning a national championship with that. So balanced scoring and balanced offense can win you championships, and that's what we're vying for.
Think about the explosive offense, but kind of something that got overshadowed with the 7 goals has been the goaltending.
Boys have given us every opportunity to win the last probably 10 games or so. So they're right where we need them to be, and the team's getting to where we need them to be, and hopefully, things keep moving in the right direction. Goaltending stays the way it is. I like our chances with the group of guys. And
From second place. What do you see when you look at Lone Star?
Well, they're just a well-rounded team. They've got 4 lines. They've got good depth, good defense, good goaltending. And they've played consistent all year. So they're a hard team to beat, but they are beatable. So we've beat them. They beat us. Again, it's a forecheck thing. If we're able to put some pressure on them, get the puck in behind their D and put some pressure on them, and find ways to penetrate their defense and get a lot of shots on net and traffic around their goaltender, that'll cause chaos and give us a good chance of getting a victory.
And again, our friends at S&D Fire Protection would like to know whose fire we've got to put out on the Brahmas.
Man, I'd probably I'm going with their goaltending again too. Like, I just feel like, again, their defense is good, right? But their goaltending just seems to find a way to have and it's a team effort, but they only have like 80 some goals against, I think, this year, and they don't give up many shots, but then their goaltender's there to make some big saves. So I think if we can find a way to just get traffic around their goalie and put pucks at the net, then again, we're going to have an opportunity to bury some goals and win against Lone Star in a one-game battle.
Alrighty, lastly, before we let you go and move on here at our coaches show, somebody from out there would also like to know, what's your biggest priority for the team right now, other than, of course, winning all your remaining games?
Just stay in the course. We got to stay positive and have good energy and build off of what we did Saturday night.
Did you know that Shreveport Regional Airport offers more daily flights than any other nearby airport? Daily flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Denver, and Houston means you're one stop from anywhere in the world. Make the short drive to Shreveport and start your vacation sooner.
Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun Flint or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
This is Alexis Tremblay, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Radio Network.
Already back here. Countdown to the opening puck drop in Shreveport as the Brahmas are in town for the 8th and final time of the regular season. These two teams will meet on a sheet of ice here in the North American Hockey League South Division. Lone Star sits atop the division, setting the pace as they have most of the season. They've got a few teams kind of clawing at them, but they're starting to separate themselves in the midst of their 8-game winning streak. Bugs, again, looking to hold on to the last 2 playoff spots of the South Division. And before we get you set for tonight's matchup, let's take a look now at our out-of-town scoreboard. A few games on the ledger tonight, as well as our South Division standings, so we can set the scene here. Let's send it over now to Duncan Welker.
Thank you, Zach. And Slanche Va, Bugs fans, and Slanche Va, Brahmas fans. Of course, that means cheers and good health in the Gaelic language. Let's take a look at those out-of-town scores real quick. We're the only game in the South Division tonight, but across the rest of the league, Elmira leads Rochester they're tied 2-2 rather. Maryland, however, they lead the New Jersey Titans 3-0, and a game just getting ready to get underway is the Aberdeen Wings and it is St. Patty's Day, the appropriately named Watertown Shamrocks. That game just getting ready to get underway. Now let's take a look at those South Division standings. The Lone Star Brahmas, of course, first place with 77 points. New Mexico Ice Wolves with 69. They're in second place. The El Paso Rhinos in third place with 64 points. The Corpus Christi Ice Rays in fourth with 60 points. The Bugs are in fifth place with 54 points, as well as the Oklahoma Warriors. They're tied with the Bugs with 54 altogether. The Odessa Jackalopes at 47 points on seventh place. And then, of course, the Amarillo Wranglers down there in eighth with 42 points. Now it's time for your Morrison DeWitt Injury Lawyers Injury Report, brought to you by our friends once again at Morrison DeWitt Injury Lawyers, as Claude and Little Bugger make their way out onto the ice. Only one injury name on the Bugs side of things. Of course, that's number 26, Jeremiah Roberts. An undisclosed injury. Currently no timetable to return, but I talked to him earlier today. He seems to be in, well, the appropriately named Slancheva, good health, but as of right now, no timetable to return. Of course, on the injury, rather healthy scratch side of things of this Morrison DeWitt Injury Lawyers Injury Report. Only one name, of course, that's number 37, Jason Simons. But other than that, that is all for your Morrison DeWitt Injury Lawyers Injury Report. Once again, brought to you by our friends at Morrison DeWitt Injury Lawyers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your Whataburger starting lineups, brought to you by our friends at Whataburger. Whataburger, just like you like it. Firstly, for these Lone Star Brahmas, at the left wing, number 17, Leo Isaacson. Taking the opening faceoff, and at center, number 55, Dylan McFadden. And at the right wing, number 77, Jackson Vates. At the left defense, number 24, Denver Dampoose. And at the right defense, number 21, Austin Peterson. And getting the start in goal tonight for the Lone Star Brahmas, number 30, Leo Gabriel. The Lone Star Brahmas are led by, of course, head coach Dan Wildfong and assistant coach Logan Murphy. And, of course, head equipment manager of the Lone Star Brahmas is William Klein. Of course, we will send it down to our PA announcer, Robert J. Wright, for the introductions. But let's take a look at this Bugs starting lineup as part of your Whataburger starting lineups. At the left wing, number 7, Grayson Gerhard. Taking the opening faceoff, and at center, number 23, Evan Hoagland. And at the right wing, number 12, Duke Earhart. An excellent weekend for Diamond Duke Earhart last week in New Mexico. He is hoping to repeat last week's efforts. At the left defense, number 5, Owen Case. And at the right defense, number 3, Evan Adams. And getting the start in net tonight, in between the pipes, the Rochester, New York native and the Providence commit, number 35, Ethan Phillips. Of course, your head coach of the Shreveport Mudbugs is Jason Soupy Campbell. Assistant coach is Brett Smith. Honorary assistant coach is Chris Lane. Willis Knight and athletic trainer is Hunter Robinson. And, of course, your head equipment manager of the Shreveport Mudbugs is Billy T. Welker. Those are your Whataburger starting lineups for both the Lone Star Brahmas as well as your Shreveport Mudbugs. And as the referees now make their way out onto the ice, there's actually 4 of them tonight, Zach. Actually, 4 of them tonight, and I was hearing it. We got the announcement yesterday that there were 4 referees. And, of course, these referees are as follow: Bradley Kine, Bryce Darrow, Colton Edling, and Jordan Stachelski. So it'll be good to see 4 referees out on tonight. Of course, wearing the stripes is Bradley Kine and Jordan Stachelski. The linesmen are Bryce Darrow and Colton Edling. So that is all I have for not only the Morrison DeWitt Injury Lawyers Report, not only South Division standings and out-of-town scoreboard as the Brahmas make their way out onto the ice. They're wearing the white Brahma jerseys, a jersey that has, well, defined the last, I would say, about almost 20 years of Mudbug Brahma hockey. And, of course, the Bugs tonight will be wearing the ever so popular purple jerseys with the teal claw and the white shoulder caps. But we'll find out. We'll send it down to PA announcer Robert J. Wright here in a moment. And Zach, what are your thoughts on St. Patrick's Day?
Well, it's not a normal day we'd be playing hockey, but we got the extra game here tonight, and it's only fitting to play against the Lone Star Brahmas on a holiday. So that's what we've got going on here as the Bugs will head down the Jumpco Tunnel and get ready for our starting laps. We'll send it down to ringside to the one and only Robert J. Wright.
Mudbugs fans, right team. Tonight's Mudbugs Bayou Roofing starting lineup. And forward from Allen, Texas, number 7, Grayson Gerhardt. And forward from Manhattan Beach, California, number 12, Duke Earhart. And forward from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, number 23, Evan Hogland. Defense from Clarkston, Michigan, number 3, Evan Adams. Defense from Dublin, Ohio, number 5, Owen Case. And tonight, between the pipes, from Rochester, New York, in goal, number 35, Ethan Phillips. Bugs fans, time to show everyone in the North American Hockey League and beyond that we Bugs fans are, as always, the most patriotic to be found. A few simple requests, please stand. Remove your caps and hats. And join in the singing of this evening's national anthem. Please welcome back to George's Bond Barbershop Quartet, the Harmony Grits.
Game number 53 of the season, and the 8th and final time these two teams will meet here in the regular season. Lone Star Brahmas and Shreveport Mudbugs on this Tuesday night from Shreveport, Louisiana. Expecting a great game. Want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here on NATV or on the Mudbugs Audio Network if you're joining us via YouTube. And Duncan, it's been an interesting season series as we are used to seeing between the Bugs and the Brahmas. Brahmas hold the current 4-3 series advantage, and the Bugs with a chance here tonight to even it up.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. It has been an interesting, and well, I'll say one more time, interesting series between these two teams. But I think you could ask almost every Mudbug fan and Brahma fan, and well, I would say almost every hockey fan in the South, you wouldn't want to have it any other way. Of course, the last time we faced these Lone Star Brahmas, a game that a lot of people had opinions on. Of course, it is St. Patrick's Day, but around here at George's Pond at Hearst Coliseum, it's St. Tommy's Day, our owner Tommy Scott's birthday. The ageless wonder that he is, to put it bluntly. Great man who is not only the Mudbugs owner, but also a longtime Mudbugs fan. I remember when he bought the team back in 2008. Now, granted, I was about 5 years old, but 5, 6 years old, but it's still did a lot for hockey in this community.
Michael Rogers.
Yeah, just a great man Tommy Scott is, and I think a lot of people around here will agree with that. But nonetheless, Zach, as for tonight, it's now time for the coaches' keys provided to us, of course, by the one and only Jason Subley Campbell. Firstly, winning the special teams, of course, and he emphasized always winning the special teams. The second one being keep them off balance by playing fast. And absolutely right. You know, in the Mudbugs locker room, Zach, there's floor mats, of course, provided to us by our friends at Porter's Industrial. That's a fast, heavy connected. Bugs got to be not only that first one, but the other two as well. The third one being outwork these Lone Star Brahmas and be connected in all areas of the ice. And absolutely right, because as we saw in New Mexico, a lot of turnovers cost the Bugs scoring chances, and they gave up goals there in New Mexico. The last one being take our game to them all night, and that was emphasized heavily by Jason Subley Campbell. Of course, the refereeing committee, 4 of them tonight, ready to go. Of course, as I mentioned on the right wing, Duke Earhart, Jackson Vates, Evan Hoagland take the opening faceoff for the Bugs. To take it for the Brahmas is number 55, Dylan McFadden. On the left wing, Grayson Gerhardt and Leo Isaacson. Defensive, Denver Dampoost, Austin Peterson for the Bugs, Owen Case and Evan Adams. And Zach, I'm excited. Let's get her going, brother.
The puck is down and we're off and rolling on this Tuesday night as Evan Hoagland overskates it. It's got a tag back up, and now it's picked back up the other way quickly by Tyson Scanlon. And it eventually squirts on net where it's covered by Ethan Phillips getting the start in the Bugs net tonight. 6-6-1 overall, the 207 goals against average, 928 save percentage. And of course, not somebody the Mudbugs fans want to see in net for the Lone Star Brahmas. It's big number 30 in white, Leo Gabriel. Man, oh man, has he been solid. There's a big blast off the faceoff. 158 goals against average, 925 save percentage. He's been huge for Lone Star, and that's another puck that dribbles on net, and Phillips will hang on to it for a whistle. Off the stick that time of Dampoost for a whistle with 20 seconds in to this first period. Brought to you by our friends at Advanced Air Conditioning and Heating, offering installations and repairs. Homes and businesses in the area, advancedac.com. That's advancedac.com.
A lot of green out there today. And of course, up here in the booth, I got my green scarf on, but we'll save that for a different time. As faceoff's getting ready, Vinny Duo to take it. Lucier for the Brahmas. Brahmas win it back.
Goes to left point. Shot there, blocked away in front by Wolf Talby. Trickles into the near corner. Wrapped around the boards that time, knocked off the puck is Austin Peterson. Comes far side, the Bugs played into open ice. They'll start to break out. Moving left to right in the purple and teal in his first period. It's Wolf Talby off to his right for Pusateri. Dumps it in from center, goes on net. Leo Gabriel out of his crease to play. We'll leave it off now for Alexander Oliver, the 5'10 defenseman, 11 points on the season for the Brahmas. And not a guy that's going to get on the scoreboard awful much, but he's a huge playmaker out there for Lone Star. We've seen it in the previous 7 matchups as Leo Gabriel has a trouble handling it behind the net. Now swings it off to the right side for Scanlon. Leaves it off in the right corner now. Wrapped back behind the net. O'Keefe picks it back up. Works off to his left now. The Brahmas will flip it out of the zone for the near side half wall. Almost over the stick of John Burnt. He'll play it back to the middle for Jonah Jasser. Jasser over the line, right side into the zone. Backhanded off the side of the net. Goes off the boards and goes on net. And now we've got some extracurriculars already here. Not even a minute and 40 seconds in here. Everybody kind of starts tangling there as the puck squirts on net. Now it's Radine in on that for Lone Star, and linesman will step in quickly. So looks like we might need that extra referee here this evening, Duncan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this is a game that honestly, if it was possible, all the referees. But nonetheless, Zach, I'm excited for tonight as I loudly proclaimed. And well, I mean, why wouldn't you be? You get a nice extra day of hockey. You get to come out and celebrate with your family on St. Paddy's Day. And that's St. P-A-D-D-Y's Day.
Shot goes on net off the face-off. Lone Star banks it back out to center. John picks it up, wraps it around the kick plate. Gabriel touches it and leaves it off for Liam O'Keefe now. Far side, up the half wall, backhanded to the blue line by their leading goal scorer, Christian Ventasinkwe. 16 goals on the year. That one comes near side now. Brahmas start to break out for Tyson Scanlon. He'll flip it up and over the line left side. Foot race for it, going to be won by the Bucks. Griner provided a screen that time. He's got it behind Phillips, works off to the left towards the far side of the ice. Set to circles, being harassed off the puck. And he pokes it out to center ice. Stick to head off the boards by Jonah Jasser. And he with the head of the puck, so that'll be an offside whistle with 18:02 left to go here in the first.
just a step ahead was the captain, Jonah Jasser. And, Zach, you mentioned Christian Vitasinque. In 49 games, he's had 37 points. That's almost, and I say almost, a point a game. And again, almost, because that's about .76 point a game. So not a point a game, but it's pretty well close. And that's the thing about Vitasinque. A lot of teams in this division obviously want to stop him from getting on the net, whether it's by goal or on the score sheet with an assist.
Adams gave it away in the corner now, and Case picks it back up below the goal line. Six off to the left, but it's not out of the zone. Brahmas hold it in and fire one just wide of the net. Comes trickling over to the near corner. When Case overs Case, it goes over his stick for Leo Isaacson, their leading points man. As that's a shot on net, covered up and held on to by Phillips. And Isaacson, 44 points in 51 games. He's got 31 assists. That also leads the Brahmas. He's been solid as well for the Brahmas. Currently sitting in first place, 36-10, 1-4. Have an 8-game winning streak. And in that 8-game winning streak, by the way, they've outscored their opponents 35 goals to 15. So the Bugs are going to have to really play some defense here this evening with 17:34 left in period number 1. Scoreless game on this Tuesday. Glad to have you join us as it's Poloni who kicks it over to the near wall. Up the near side boards now it's Hoagland. Feeds it back into open ice for Duke Earhart. Up ahead for Grayson. Goes off of his stick. They're going to wash the icing off. Gabriel out of his net to play it. Rifled around the board. Remy holds it in. Right point. Sends one off the back of the net. Rebound for Grayson. Tries to Michigan it off the back of Gabriel. And it's going to be eventually whistled dead almost 3 minutes into this opening period. So 35-15 in their last 10 games. So that's crazy. So you got to play defense. And as we mentioned, Leo Gabriel comes in with a .925 save percentage, so you're not going to get too many past him.
No, absolutely not. And that's the one thing this Brahmas team, especially that Jason Campbell highlighted in several of my conversations with him throughout the season, their goaltending core, of course, Leo Gabriel, obviously the name that's been highlighted not only by you, but by him and pretty much by everybody on that Mudbugs bench was Leo Gabriel.
Gabriel again out to play it. Comes near side, wrapped around the boards, far side now to the blue line, but not out of the zone. Held in by the Bugs before they give it away. And now Lone Star is going to push the tempo. Far side towards the net, looking to throw it in the slot. Nobody was home. Picked up by Joe Semengo, the Philly kid. He'll slap it across to the far side. Now Bugs start to break out. Back near side for Semengo. He'll flip it cross ice for Wolf Talby into the far corner. He'll backhand it around the kick plate. Comes near side. Up to the hash marks that time. Delio races after it. He grabs the loose puck. It's knocked down. John Burns got it at the right point. Setting feed there. Intercepted by Nazardine, and he'll flank it out to center ice. So Reed picks it back up. Back near side for Wolf Talby. He'll drop it off for John Byrne at the red line. Now back into the Bugs end as they've got a retreat here. 16-17 and rolling. First period, no score. And only a couple of shots either side as well, as everybody just kind of feeling things out on this Tuesday. Here's John Byrne up the center of the ice. Off to his right for Willie Tremblay. Tremblay around a couple of defenders. Streaks into the slot. Jasser's shot gets turned aside. Could be raced after by the other 15. Across the way, that's Sable, who gets knocked down. He's slow to get up behind the play. Brahma's into the offensive end. Far side, Tremblay trying to stick it out of the zone. Now the Bugs get it right back, and Sable's still slow to get off to the bench here. He's just now to his feet. Icing washed out, comes far side for Scanlon. Goes off of his stick to Willie Tremblay at the left circle before it's stolen away from him by Isaacson. Flipped up the near wall, brought over the line now by Wildfong. Wildfong to Venton Cinque. That goes off of his stick, and it's picked up far side by Poloni. Poloni starts to break out, sends a shot on net from the red line, and Gabriel's going to have to jump on top of it to the right of his crease for another whistle. Almost 5 minutes in. 15:24 left here in the first.
Zach, Fireplace Specialties is not only a proud corporate partner of Mudbugs Hockey, but you know what? They've got it all. Fireplace, gas logs, glass stoves, doors, wood stoves, mantles, and grills. And like I said, they've got it all. Located at 8500 Box Road here in Shreveport, or you can visit them on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties, Zach, is your, and I do mean your, fireplace headquarters.
Duke Earhart in to take the draw. He's had a heck of a season. 32 points, 19 goals, 14 assists. South Player of the Week last week. There's a shot on net, and Gabriel will hold on to it for another whistle with 15-16. Another offensive zone faceoff coming up for the Shreveport Mudbugs.
Remy Brusatteri is not often a guy you think who will have the tactile hands that he does in terms of his passing game, but was able to get the pass over, and then the shot was on net. But again, it just goes back to that tactile style of passing for Mary Prusateri that almost led to a rebound there for the Bugs. So, want to see more of that.
Vinicius, right side offensive zone, eventually controlled by the Brahmas, and they'll leave it off behind the cage, that near side for Dampoose now. It's a 6'4", 195 defenseman. Up ahead now, brought in over the line by Lexell. Drops it off in the slot, turns aside by the Bugs. Back out to center ice, picked back up by Lucy as he'll dump it in. Owen Case got it on his stick, hit the near corner. Off to the right for Wolf Talby. Up the sidewall back to center. Semengo will lift it into the zone. Comes far side, foot race for it there. Going to be won by Austin Peterson. He'll wrap it around the kick plate, up to the blue line and back out to center ice. Tremblay picks it up on top of the Mudbugs logo at center. Semengo into the offensive zone. Can't get it to Vinny Diulio. Goes below the goal line now. Dampoose with it as Diulio knocked him off the puck. Wrap back up the near side half wall. Brahmas will cycle it back the other direction. Behind the cage again is Tremblay throwing the body around in a defensive end on Peterson. Flipped up the wall to Lucier, gets it out to center ice. Tavares will spin it to the middle. Lucier down the slot. He corrals it, cycles back up towards the blue line, drops it off for Nadradine. Nadradine cuts down the left wing, and his shot is deflected up into the netting and out of play for a whistle here with 14-10. Ozone draw now for Lone Star on the other side.
And you know that puck that went out of play, of course, not only is brought to you by our friends at Johnny's Pizza House, but it went off the shin guard there of Mitchell Reed. So, again, Bugs defense has to use not only their defensive prowess, but also every part of their body in the case of Mitchell Reed to stop the Brahmas from their normal fast, heavy game.
Wild Fong wins the draw back towards the blue line for Nadradine. Cuts to the bottom of the left circle. Tried to wrap around. Still got it, though, in the far corner. Cycles into the slot. Big drive. Stopped by Phillips as he hangs off the crease to the left. And Lopez Corsi and Nadradine have a meeting of the minds there in the slot after the whistle. And that'll draw another stoppage. Exactly 14 minutes to go in the first.
Oh, we love the even times. I love when the clock will just stop at a nice even 14. Or, for example, the gas pump, when it stops at, a nice even, when it stops at a nice even about $50 or something like that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I love even numbers. I know it's kind of a weird observation, but one of those things that happen when you get hockey on a fun Tuesday night.
So Charlie Birchfield coming in to take the draw. In his second North American Hockey League season, joining the clump from Aberdeen, coming down to the dirty south as it's picked up at center ice. Sable back out there. Good to see him back on his feet after getting knocked down a little bit earlier on. Here's Gabriel off to his left. Now sent back around the far side for Tyson Scanlon. Backhanded through his legs to the middle of the ice. 2-on-2 developing the other way. And over the line right side. Brahmas take a shot from the circle. That's turned aside. The Bugs get it back. Defensive end. Flipped up the wall by Nandor. He can't clear it. Held in. Right circle. Big drive that time from Tesinque. Goes up into the netting and out of play for a stoppage with 13:28 left here in the first period. The other player, we kind of talk about the offenses here today. Bucks come in struggling on offense, last in the South Division, 2.78 goals against. The Brahmas at 3.43 goals for per game, rather. And then their goals against, 2.09. They don't give up a lot of goals either, but somebody who's got to stay hot for the Bugs is the man coming to take the draw now. That's Evan Hoagland. He's got a 6-game point streak, and he has points in 7 of his last 8. But this draw goes all the way back into the Brahmas end. Gabriel is out to the hash marks to play it. We'll leave it off to the left that time for Liam O'Keefe. He cycles below the goal line, flips it up to center ice. Evan Adams will steal it away at the Bugs blue line. He'll turn and fire it up ahead off the stick of Grayson Gerhard. Goes into the corner where O'Keefe will track it down. Backhands it across far side now, brought in for Vates. Vates trying to work out of the defensive end for the Brahmas. They'll come back around the near side now, picked up by Grayson Cohen, the 5'10 defenseman. He still got it, works off to the far side, still behind the net, up the wall. Isaacson corrals it off the carom. Bugs steal it away, down the slot, looking for a chance. Backhand shot, Earhard is stopped by Leo Gabriel. He had a great chance off the steal, and Duke tried to lift it over top, but Gabriel robbed him out of midair with his glove for a whistle with 12:50.
Diamond Duke Earhard on the backhand just got robbed there. Robbed there by, as we mentioned, Leo Gabriel. And, I love seeing glove side robberies like that because it can be really smooth sometimes, especially if you're in Leo Gabriel's case. You almost rarely see a blocker robbery. I say rarely, but it has happened in the past, though.
There's Vinny DiUlio to take the draw right side of the offensive end. Still tied up on the circle, now eventually controlled by the Lone Star Brahmas. It's Vogel with it behind the cage. Tries to spin off a defender. Vinny DiUlio steals it away from him for a moment. Given for Wolf Talby, bottom of the circle, looking for a play. Slides it up high, big drive, top shelf. It's John Byrne who opens up the scoring with 12:23 to go in the first period. It's a big goal for the dual threat defenseman Johnny Byrne. It's his 14th of the season, and it's 1-0.
Johnny Byrne, yes, sir. Love to see it. Johnny Byrne able to wrist it right on past the aforementioned Leo Gabriel. You love to see it on a Tuesday night. Beauty.
So John Byrne got the goal, although it was Joe Semengo who led the line to the bench.
Right.
But nonetheless, 1-0 Mudbugs as the Mudbugs being collected there off the ice. We talked about it in the pregame. Leo Gabriel does not give up a lot of goals, nor does the Brahmas as a whole. Only 2 goals a game, so the Bugs got on the board first. But you've got to be cautiously optimistic. The Bugs were on the board first on Saturday against New Mexico, and, well, things didn't quite end the way the Bugs wanted out there in Albuquerque.
Of course, and as the live stats come in, it'll be Joseph Semengo getting the goal, and, of course, Johnny Byrne on the assist. So, basically, love to see it from Semengo. My recap, and, of course, Johnny Byrne still, though, with the powering wrister from the blue line, and just Joe Semengo is able to find the tip in. So, good stuff there from Joe Semengo, the Philly kid. Not gonna hold his love of the Flyers against him now, but I digress.
Well, you and I might root for different teams, but we do have hatred of the Flyers in common, so we'll give you that.
Oh, yeah.
1-0 our score, 12:33 left in the first period. So we'll wait for everything to be locked up down to our left. And we're back to action as Jared Greiner went back to the blue line for John Byrne, and he will wrap it around the boards, comes near side. Joe Semengo, by the way, that's his 4th goal of the season. He has 18 assists on a year. Not a guy that's going to score a lot of goals, but he got one there. Barrett below the goal line, sticks it towards the blue line. It's taken away by Wildfong. He starts it up 2-on-2 the other way. Now the Bugs in a little bit of trouble defensively. Big drive there for Phillips. Will stop it with his right shoulder. Bounces back out for Scanlon. He'll dump it in as Lone Star's got a tag back up. Phillips leaves it off to the right for John Byrne. Left of the net now, brought up by Jared Greiner. Off to the right for Ryan Barrett now. He's in over the blue line. Barrett with it, down to the circle. His shot rifles through the crease, comes far side for Sable. 15 in white, spins off a defender. Now he plays it into open ice, but Remy steals it away, and he'll dump it in from the red line as Gabriel's got to go out of his crease left side to play. Then he paddles to the side to the near wall where Dampoose will pick it up below the goal line. Works off to his right, hits the brakes. Will backhand it up the far side half wall. Played back into the middle for Liam O'Keefe. O'Keefe off ahead, just in over the line is Ventusinque. Drops it off in a slot. Big drive for Phillips. Sprawls left. And he gets the glove save that time on Tyson Scanlon with 11:27 left. That should take us to our first media timeout. We'll be back here in a moment on the Bugs Broadcast Network. 1-0. Bugs on top.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
This is Mitchell Reed, and you're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Mudbugs Hockey is brought to you by our friends at Sonic Drive-In. This is how we Sonic. 11:27 left in the opening frame. Bugs are on top 1-0 after Joe Semengo got a tip on John Byrne's slap shot just about a minute ago to give the Bugs the 1-0 advantage. They look to even up the season series against the Lone Star Brahmas. It's been an interesting back-and-forth battle. The Bugs started off the series with a sweep at Lone Star. Lone Star returned the favor a few weeks after that, and the last time we went to the NITEC Sports Center, we split. Then makeup game number 1. This is the second one went in favor of the Brahmas here at George's Pond. Bugs get to steal. Gerhard into the middle. Can't hit the trailer. Hoagland, who tried to tip it on the north step, but it's stopped by Leo Gabriel. Nice play by Leo that time to stay with it, as the Brahmas will poke it out to center ice. Jackson Vates swings it far side that time for Liam O'Keefe, and he'll wrap it around the boards and took a weird hop, and Phillips is still looking for it over his right shoulder, but it's off to the left of him. They didn't go all the way around the ice. Here's Adams up the center of the ice from his own blue line. Off the boards for Gerhard, goes off the top of the boards and trickles into the corner. Earhart, he's got his skates on it, looking to work it free that time, but he kicks it to the hash marks. Hoagland backhands it up the wall for Adams, but it never got to him, and it's intercepted that time by McFadden. McFadden up ahead and over the line. It's Vates. Vates swings it far point. Big drive there, stopped by Phillips, and everybody goes tumbling over him. A couple of Bugs and a couple of Brahmas, as he was in a line of fire that time, as Gerhard will play it up for Duke, and Earhart will wrap it around the boards. Gabriel out of his net to play it. Wholesale changes for both the Bugs and the Brahmas as Lone Star looks to start the breakout. Up ahead, it's intercepted, though, by Vinny DiUlio at center, and he leaves it off for Joseph Mango, who retreats back into his own zone. 10-13 left to go. Opening frame, 1-0 Bugs on top. That is picked up by Mitchell Reed. Leaves it off into circles. Intercepted for a moment by Lexell. Couldn't corral it cleanly, though, as DiUlio will stick it back to center ice. John Burton whiffs on a clearing attempt, and we're going to get a penalty coming up from behind the play. We're waiting the signal this time. The referee had his arm up. Everybody's yelling out there. And we'll wait the signal. I thought it was going to come against the Bugs, but now he's talking to Dan Wildfong over there. So maybe too many men on the Brahmas, potentially. They're exactly midway through, 10 minutes exactly in the first, and looks like it is going to be a bench minor for too many men, I believe.
It is.
And it is. So now a power play coming up here for the Bugs, and this is an area Shreveport needs to get things rolling. Their power play sits at 17.1%. Last week against New Mexico, it was 1 of 6. Meanwhile, the penalty kill for the Brahmas sits at 77.9%. So their power play is really good. The penalty kill, not so much, as the Bugs win the face-off. So it's just the opposite of Shreveport. Big drive for Hoagland. His stick broke in half. Another victim. Here comes far side now, looking to slide it up for John Burnt. Center point, now off to the right for Gerhard. Gerhard right circle. He fires it in. It's stolen away, and Brahmas on a clearing attempt goes into their bench. So ozone draw coming up for the Bugs as they will retreat the Deadwood down there in the corner with a minute 41 to go on the power play.
And I'm not gonna lie, that was almost a clean break, almost similar to the one we saw with Owen Case if not last week, then at least a few weeks ago. I hate to see clean breaks like that, especially on a scoring opportunity that Evan Hoagland had, but unless he gets a stick back, and a lucky fan down there behind the bench gets the broken stick from who else? Billy T. Welker. But again, 141 left on this Scott Powerline power play. And as you mentioned, 1 for 6 last week. We just got to turn it up here.
There's John Burt to the left for Evan Hoagland. Slides it back up top to the blue line. Burt snaps it back for Hoagland. Hoagland now right side for Grayson Gerhard. In a high slot back for Hoagland. One-time blast from the circle. Stopped by Gabriel. He steps in front of it and watches it into his glove. Big stop that time on a hard slap shot from Evan Hoagland.
And luckily this time the stick didn't break, but nonetheless, by the way, serving that bench minor at exactly 10 minutes, Jake Tavares. So in about a minute 28, we'll see Tavares out of the box, but hopefully, the Bugs can make them get out a little earlier, if you know what I mean.
It's Earhart who gets tied up off the draw, goes to the far wall, but the Bugs will hold it in. John Burt got against his skates at the blue line. Now it's poked barely out to center. Gerhard plays catch with Earhart. That's not confusing at all for anybody, as it's brought back in by Lone Star now. Brahmas into the offensive end. Goes in the corner where Tremblay will pick it up, leaves it off for John Burnt below the goal line. He's going to start to break out near side for Hoagland. Turns it back for Burnt. Burnt up the center of the ice, almost lost a handle on it, gets it back. Now up ahead for Tremblay. Left side will spin off a defender at the hash marks. Back up top to left point for Burnt. Burnt skates into the slot. Now back left side for Willie. Down low at the goal line for Hoagland. Tried to get the tip towards the net by Earhart. That goes over for Grayson now. He picks it up. Right point, tries to fire it in. Goes off of Brahma. And only gets to the circle before Scanlon turns and burns all the way down the ice.
You know, that was a bit of a good effort before. Obviously, the Brahmas got a touch on that puck. And, you know, Willie Tremblay circled right around here. And, you know, it's funny. Earlier in the season, Tremblay was working with Mudbugs general manager Scott Musket, not only on his shot, but on his offensive effort as well. And that was one of the things that they worked on, trying to use Willie's size advantage. again, well, size disadvantage to an advantage.
Owen Case, high slot, left circle, controlled now, back up top for Owen. Semengo was calling for it at the right point. They leave it off for Everett Adams. Walks down the slot, now to the right for Semengo. Trying to get the tip for Birchfield waiting in front, but that's turned aside as Gabriel got a piece of it with his stick. Bounces up towards the blue line. Owen Case controls as the penalty ends. Up top now for Jasser. Snaps it to the left circle for Adams. He cycles back up towards the blue line. Back across now for Owen Case, right point. Fires one through traffic. Never got through the skates of Semengo that time. Adams corrals it far corner. Now Birchfield tries to work off a couple of defenders. Gets knocked off the puck. And he sends a cross check back the Brahmas way before Lone Star will backhand out of the zone. That was McFadden. Now it's started back up on the attack. Cycling back into their own zone now. Leo Isaacson picks it up. And he's their leading scorer. 44 points, 31 assists, 13 goals as Birchfield throws the body around behind the plate. Poloni tries to clear it down. It goes off of Brahma, who was trying to come off for a change. So that'll bring a neutral zone draw here with 7:24 left here in the first. I'd like to remind you that Porter's Industrial has been delivering a difference for Mudbugs hockey. Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, providing floor mats, uniforms, and facility services for your company. Proudly serving the Shreveport area. Porter's Industrial, delivering the difference.
The Woo Birds are out in effect tonight. Not as many as usual, Zach, but still the Woo Birds are present.
Ryan Barrett's got it back towards the net for Poloni at the far circle. He's going to hang out for a stroll in the defensive end. Now leaves it off for Remy Pusateri. 7-10 to go here in the first. Remy backhanded up the wall. Touched ahead by Lopez Corsi into the corner. Jared Griner in a foot race that time, but it's going to be one as Sable picks it up for Lone Star. Banks it off the boards for Vets to sink way out to center for Scanlon. Kicks it to his stick. Tries to get around Ryan Barrett, and Barrett steps under him, gets hauled down in the corner. Scanlon still trying to whack at the puck. Ryan Barrett picks it up from his backside behind the cage. Now Remy's got it in his skates, far wall. Flips it up the wall for Lopez Corsi, but not out of the zone. Held in, snap near point for Nazardine. Banks it off the boards, rolls around the kick plane for Remy, who tries to poke it out of the zone. Held in once more. Shot there through traffic, never got to the net, off the stick of Grayson Cohen. Slid to the left point now for Nazardine. Takes a check, leaves it off for Vetasinkwe. He fired one, glove saved by Phillips. Off to his left for a stoppage with 6:26 to go here in the first.
Puck, like glove, like metal to a magnet there was Ethan Phillips. And the glove side is actually one of his stronger sides of the ice. And, you know, I love to see that from Ethan Phillips. Able to bounce back after last weekend. You know, I said last week his confidence was through the roof, of course, after getting the start in the last few games. Of course, then Tyler Hodges came in relief for him. But he got to start again tonight, and so you have to think with saves like that and a good defensive effort so far from the Bugs, that his confidence is just getting back up to that level.
Dampoose has it below the goal line far side. Flipped up the wall towards the blue line and out of the zone. Up ahead now it's Wildfong. It's going to win a foot race to it, far corner. Wraps it around the boards, backhanded to the near side. In the breaks, change of direction there at the hash marks. That time was Tavares. Into the corner it goes again. Wildfong gets a piece of it before John Burt picks it up far wall. Backhanded to the middle. DiUlio couldn't corral it cleanly. Wildfong shoves the man off the puck far side. Bucks can't start to break out. They turn it over. Big drive there. Blasted up over top the net. Comes near side now where it's eventually tracked down by Peterson. Wrapped around the boards and the Bucks steal it away. Semengo up ahead for Gerhard. Was waiting for the touch pass in the corner. Gabriel steals it away from Grayson and wraps it around the boards. Comes all the way back up to the blue line before John Burnt will pinch and hold on to it for a moment before the Brahmas started up ahead the other way. Wildfong into the middle for Lucier with off the edge of his stick. Picked back up by Evan Adams. Trying to get around Lucier that time. 56 in white. Back to center. It's Earhart. Snaps it across left side for John Burnt, who rifles it down and heads off for a change. Gabriel picks it up below the goal line. Far side now for Peterson. Wrapped around the boards to center ice. Here come the Brahmas on a 3-on-2, trying to get some speed working. And over the line. Looking for a tip pass there for O'Keefe on the doorstep. Couldn't get it home. He pushed it just wide to the near post. Up the wall now for Hoagland. Goes off his body, then to his stick. Gets shoved off the puck. Goes into the corner now where Cohen picks it up. Works to the right of his net. Now everybody tumbling towards Leo Gabriel that time. Goes back into the Bugs end. Blast off the boards. Hoagland tries to turn and fire it, and he can't. Here's Vates over the line left side. Dropped off Lucy at the circle. His shot through traffic is tipped up into the netting and out of play for a whistle with 4:36. And they had Vates cut down the slot. He got tripped up, or he might have had a great scoring chance there for a Lone Star.
Absolutely. Vates did get brought down there a little bit, but he was still able to get the shot off there. And, of course, Ethan Phillips able to able to get contact on it and send it out of play.
Zone draw here, left side. Birchfield down to an E, will grab it. He'll wrap it around the boards, up to the blue line, held in by Nasruddin. Nasruddin pokes it into the corner, picked up by McFadden. Below the goal line now for Vates, trying to spin off a couple of players. Looks like a bug took a high stick that time. Bounces up towards center ice. Lone Star picks it back up to the right of the center circle. It's wrapped off the board. They've got a tag up. Comes near side where Remy will grab it. Tries to backhand it below the goal line for Poloni. Along the wall for Jasser. Goes off the edge of his stick. Gets knocked down at center ice. Loose puck scorched to the Brahmans back at the defensive end. 4 minutes to go. Opening frame. 1-0. Bugs on the lead on a Joe Semengo goal. McFadden snaps into open ice right side for Scanlon. Scanlon back for McFadden. Goes off his stick where Jasser picks it up. Comes up the near side half wall again. Played to the blue line for Nasruddin. He'll cycle it around the boards far side again. Jonah Jasser waits for it, but Lone Star is the one who gets a stick on it for a moment before Willie Tremblay gets it now for the Bucks. Willie takes a big hit and gets knocked down at center by Jackson Vates. Up at Sable, touches it into the offensive zone. Through the skates of the linesman for Scanlon. Tries to hit the trailer in the slot. Lopez Corsi with some good screening defense will steal that away. John Burns got it. Now back for Gabe. Lopez Corsi over the blue line. Knocked down off the puck. Scanlon will track down the loose puck far side. Goes up into the Brahmas bench. That's the third or fourth puck that time that's gone over to the Lone Star bench. That stops time with 3:21 to go here in the first period.
Buffalo Wild Wings, as always, is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. Love me some good Buffalo Wild Wings. But real quick here, shot-wise, 9-7 in favor of the Brahmas, so it's an evenly shot game so far. You love to see that. Pace has been a little back and forth, a little slow at times. It was in the beginning of the game, but so far it's kind of been back and forth a little bit so far.
The Brahmans control the face-off. Scanlon slides up the wall to center ice. 3-on-2 developing. Dampoose, left side, into the slot. Backhand shot, tried to tic-tac goal, and Phillips got a piece of it. Out of his crease to his right, he'll pounce on top of it. What a chance coming down the near side was Peterson, and Phillips shot just enough to keep it out of the goal.
Woo. Ethan Phillips able to come up with I'll be honest, the first save was a little interesting, but the second one, I'll be honest, at first I thought it went out of play, and then I see him come up with it, and I'm like, wow. All right, Ethan Phillips.
Yeah, you know, Lone Star's the team. They don't really take a lot to set up plays. They like to just shoot pucks at the net, but that time they went for the tic-tac goal. It worked perfectly, but Phillips just got enough of a piece of it. Looks like Birchfield now, or Julio rather, going to get thrown out of the face-off. So going to take it now is Liam Wolf-Talby as Julio goes on the far wing. Puck is down, controlled by Adams in the corner, wraps it around the boards for Owen Case, defensive end for the Bucks. 3 minutes to go, opening period. Back and forth on this Tuesday night, Bugs and Brahmas for the final time in the regular season. Picked up to center ice, touched into the offensive zone. Gabriel out of his net behind it to play it. Leaves it off, miscommunication there. It went back for Gabriel. Bugs forced the turnover. Into the corner it goes. Picked up by Peterson. He wraps it off the glass and out of play. Got tipped though. To stop time again with 2:43 left on the first period clock. So a few miscues there for the Brahmas. Gabriel tried to leave it off. It went ping-ponging off a couple of Lone Star players, and he eventually had to save it from going off his own guy.
Yeah, I know. That's a deadly play there. A effective deadly play, if that makes sense, there by Leo Gabriel. Just able to keep it from getting worse for the Lone Star Brahmas.
Tied up off the draw, goes behind the cage where it's picked up by Grayson Cohen. Cohen wraps it around the boards, far side. Now the Brahmas in white start the break out, far side. Vet to sink way over the line, takes a hit that time, but he banks it back out to center. Smart play there to hold on to possession rather than going for the dump maneuver that time. Owen Case picks it back up as the Brahmas tag up at the blue line. Owen starts the left of the net, up the far side board, snapped across for Hoagland, near side. Plays catch with it off of the boards. Got it back down the slot. Big drive for Grayson. Stopped by Gabriel that time. It was right on the doorstep. Tried to put it home at point-blank range. Grayson tied up along the near side hash marks now. 4-car pile up. Squirts towards the slot before it's eventually stolen back by Jackson Vates. Slides it around the boards for Cohen. Cohen far side will lift it back out to center ice gingerly before it's stolen back away. And the Brahmas will start to break out once more. Down the slot, it's Lexell. Tries to dodge a couple of bugs. He holds on to it at the left point. Can't save it for Nadradine coming off the bench. He takes a high hit that time from Hoagland. Looking for a call from the referee. Probably could have gotten one that time. But it's Owen Case who picks it up behind the cage. Minute 34 to go. First period, 1-0 Bugs on top with a Joe Semingo goal back at the 12:33 mark. It's brought up by the Bugs. Birchfield dances around the defender. Has his pocket picked right at the blue line. Dumped ahead, picked up now by Tremblay. Back into the Bugs end. Wraps it around the boards for Owen Case, far side over the Coca-Cola face-off dot over there. Now wrap back around the boards again. It's Evan Adams at the half wall. Sticks it into open ice. Up ahead for Jonah Jasser. Off the edge of his stick. Plays the Karam. Fires one through the crease. Tremblay one-time drive for the right circle. Is turned aside by Gabriel. Kick save that time. Final minute here, first period, 1-0 Bugs. Here's Tremblay again. Left circle, fires, he scores! He goes 5-hole on Leo Gabriel, and Willie Tremblay will get mobbed down there below the goal line by his teammates. And with 55.6 seconds to go in the first, it's 2-0 Bugs on Willie's 6th goal of the season.
You know, it's funny, I mentioned earlier in the season, Scott Musket helped Willie Tremblay work on a shot. That is exactly very much what Scott Musket showed Willie Tremblay back in November. Pull it back, release, and it goes right through the 5-hole of Leo Gabriel. Love it. Let's go, Willie.
So it's 2-0 Bugs now as he just went after the shot. He had a great scoring chance a moment before that from the right circle. Then it bounced up and the Bugs work it towards the net, and Willie's waiting there to put it home. And well, you got to think that head coach Jason Zupi Campbell is liking the way they're executing his keys to the game early on here in the first.
So far, yeah, as Remy Pusateri heads up the Gemco tunnel for, I believe, an equipment issue. I think Billy T. Welker followed him, but we'll have to see what happens with Remy Pusateri. But as for that play, I absolutely can see Jason Zupi Campbell loving that play getting drawn up there. Well, you know, it's funny, it got drawn up, then it got erased, but then it got some recovery marks there by Willie Alexis Tremblay. Nice guy, Willie. I like him. You know, it's funny, Chet Yoder would always say that he's my favorite, and, well, I don't have favorites, but Willie's one of those guys that, again, I mentioned it last week, he plays with so much passion in his game, in everything he does, and I do mean everything. Obviously, from a shot like that, and then obviously in the scrums that he's been in, he has a lot of passion for this game, and I love that in a hockey player because it shows they care. Even at this level, you want that in a player.
So here at center, Charlie Birchfield to take it with Tremblay on his near wing, and Willie down to a knee will stick it towards the wall, but Sable will fire it into the defensive end for the Bugs. Going down over the puck that time was Lexell. Below the goal line, it's Birchfield again. Tries to work it free of a couple of Brahmas. They'll slide it up the wall to the far point. Sable into open ice for Dampoose. Can't save it at the left point. Goes back out to center. They've got to regroup. 35 seconds to go first period. Sable right side over the line. And it's played out to center by Birchfield through the skates of Jonah Jasser. Tremblay comes in trying to whack at it as he came in quickly. As the offside big hit there. It's a 5-car pileup. Peterson and Birchfield going at it, or Tremblay rather going at it. Puck is tied up in the skates. They're right at the blue line with 13 seconds to go. Now the Bugs work it back into their own zone for Jonah Jasser, who settles it down in the corner. Rifles it around the boards far side. 5 seconds to go. Just got to clear it up ahead. And that'll do it as Birchfield will hold on to it in front of the bench at the final buzzer here in the first period. First 20 minutes in the books. Bugs on top 2-0. Great effort for both teams thus far. Leo Gabriel has made a lot of great saves, as has Ethan Phillips, but right now it's Joe Semengo and Willie Tremblay that have been the difference.
Been a good period so far for the Bugs, scoring-wise, but effort-wise, both sides, equal amount of efforts. If you look at the shot numbers here, 10-10, so even shots for both the Brahmas and the Bugs. So just an excellent effort, and although the shots say one thing, the goals say another. 2-0 Bugs. Love to see it as this North Caddo Express Loop first intermission is now underway. And speaking of which, Zach, I had the opportunity, actually yesterday, to talk to former Mudbugs head coach and former Mudbugs player, Carlos Zernis. Of course, a lot of people remember him from the 2017-18 Robertson Cup championship season. And, you know, I've known Zerny even before he got back, or rather got into coaching here with the Bugs. Of course, I knew him as a player, one of my favorites. And then, of course, it's funny, the last time I saw him in person, he was with the UAH Chargers when they were still Division I NCAA. So it's good to hear from him. And speaking of which, Zach, Zerny had a lot to say, and I do mean a lot to say, not only about his time in Shreveport, but just about everything else. So it's a two-part interview, not only here on this North Caddo Express Loop first intermission show, which, as always, ladies and gentlemen, is brought to you by our friends at the North Caddo Express Loop in Vivian. Mention the discount code MUDBUGS25 to get 10% off your service. Again, that's the discount code MUDBUGS25. Call them at 318-375-5823 for more information. But that first part interview is on the other side, Zach. 2-0 Bugs. Love to see it.
It's 2-0 after the opening 20 minutes. Joe Semengo, the 12:33 mark. Willie Tremblay at the 55-second of that first period. That's where we stand after 2-0 into the first intermission here on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Congratulations! You kept a plant alive another day. You deserve a refreshing reward. Introducing new Whataburgers from Whataburger. You finally returned a text. Thumbs up emoji. You hung up a shirt. You changed a light bulb. You walked the dog around the whole block. Attaboy, it's treat time. The new prickly pear raspberry Whatafresher from Whataburger.
An icicle treat for every small feat. Whataburger.
Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
For the big, small, short, tall. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
Hey, this is Tyler Hodges, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network with Zach Grant and Duncan Welker. Now let's get back to the action.
Welcome back to the North Caddo Express Loop first intermission show, driven to you by our friends at the North Caddo Express Loop in Vivian. Mention the discount code MUDBUGS25 to get 10% off your service. Now joining me, former Mudbugs player and former Mudbugs head coach, Carlos Zonas. Zerny, welcome in.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh,
long time.
Oh,
love it. Thanks for asking me, and I appreciate it.
Of course, Zerny. Now, Zerny, tonight we are taking on the Lone Star Brahmas, a team that you've not only had experience with at not only the playing level, but also the coaching level here during the junior era of the Mudbugs.
Who's that team? Never heard of them. But anyway, that's just picking on Dan Wildfong right there. So
yeah.
no, obviously that's a great rivalry down there, right? Comes from the CHL days, right? And with Muskie going at it with Dan, and then kind of continuing. Now it's continuing. Now Soupy's going against him and Smitty, and I love it. I just love it. But that's one of the in junior hockey. I think it's one of the most traditional rivalries there is. You kind of look across the board from pro hockey now to junior level.
Absolutely, and it's funny you mentioned the the pro days, of course, when Dan Walfong took over, basically, I would say, if not the entire organization, well, actually the entire organization. Of course, you mentioned Muskie going at it with him a few times, and well, those games were always fun. Even when I was about 4 or 5, I kind of had a sense of how big the rivalry was, Zerny. Now, Zerny, of course, there's been a bit of a saying around here that you how do I put this nicely, a little bit owned the Lone Star Brahmas in your coaching tenure here with the Bugs. Is that right?
Well, we were fortunate enough. Let's just say that. I don't want to say too much on it, right? So we were fortunate enough to get the better side of it. So anytime I see Dan and on recruiting shows, and obviously talk to Dan quite a bit and all that kind of stuff,
right.
Always tend to mention that with better half, and obviously the great. That's still the one of the greatest. I thought obviously my coaching career. And just a game 5 against Lone Star at home in playoffs, right? It's kind of best out of 5. So it was one of those great games and great series where we're fortunate enough to end up winning the title that year. But that going through them, it felt like a final, right? So it felt like a final game because they're well coached, good team, good ownership, and that's what makes it great.
Absolutely. And speaking of that Robinson Cup championship team, I talked to your captain of that team, Dominic Procopio, last week, and he's a nice guy. Of course, we being me and my dad and the rest of my family, we met him during his time in Huntsville, and he's had a lot, both good and some funny stories about Zerny. Of course, one of the things he said was that you're intense and passionate, and well, I think almost everybody will say that, Zerny, but as for the stories of Dominic Procopio, what was one of the things you had with Dominic Procopio on that Robertson Cup championship winning team?
Well, Dom is, first of all, right? You're saying he's a nice guy. Yeah, he is. Have you seen him on the ice? Obviously, you've seen him on the ice. He's wrecking havoc out there and basically kicking ass and taking names down there, right? And cashing paychecks. So that's Dominic Procopio right there in a little bit of a nutshell. Again, same thing as a guy that plays with extreme passion, unbelievable leader in a locker room, right? And he's just the ultimate pro, like even in junior hockey, right? People say, what does a pro hockey player looks like, right? Pro. But Dominic is complete pro, right? Shows up on time, shows up early, does the work, hangs out with the guys, leads them the right way, practice habits. That's where you win championships, is in practice, right? And that's what he does. He brings the intensity in practice, the high compete level, right? So I couldn't say enough great things about him, and obviously he's still playing, still continuing playing, and obviously anywhere he's gone has been a captain. That's not just right. It just happens for a reason. Just the person he is, and the kind of man he's becoming. So there's so much credit goes to him, to that title, just being the voice of reason in the locker room, right? Kind of a voice from coaching staff to the locker room, right? I couldn't say enough great things about Dom.
Absolutely. And Zerny, of course, I saw you the last time I saw you. You were the head coach of the UAH Chargers in their last few seasons at the Division I NCAA level. Of course, there's a funny story about that. You wanted me to go to Alaska with you guys on a trip when your equipment manager at the time, who's now with the Fayetteville Marksmen. I remember that's one of the things I remember about your time with the Chargers. But Zerny, speaking of college, speaking of the last time I saw you and things like that, what is currently going on with Carl Zernis right now?
Currently, Carlos Zernis is in Nashville, Tennessee, and being a dad for a little bit, right? Because obviously that's one of my priorities too. But on the coaching side, I am at the Mercyhurst University. It's in the Atlantic Hockey Conference. Plays obviously Division I in Erie, Pennsylvania. Erie, Pennsylvania is more obviously known in hockey. Connor McDavid there played for OHL team. Erie Otters, right? So that's kind of Erie, and Erie's located kind of between the Cleveland and Buffalo area or up north. A lot of snow. There's a lot of snow, obviously, up there, but it was my last year there, my first year here last season. It was a great experience. great staff to work with. I love the staff, love the administration, and kind of looking to build the program into more dominant team that wins more consistent basis.
Absolutely. And what was one of the main things that kind of was a transition period in between going from being as a player in pro hockey to a coach at the junior level, of course, with the Bugs, and then just obviously going into the recruiting and coaching side of things with Mercyhurst, just as that stage of your career?
It's definitely, you never know when you're done playing, right, where your path's going to lead to. I was fortunate enough, obviously, in Nashville, Tennessee, in my off season. I was got involved more in the coaching in the summertime. And my story is how I ended up in Shreveport too, because I played in Colorado Eagles in Central League, and then I was doing one of the camps with ex Mudbugs radio guy Brandon Walker, that's here in Nashville, and Brandon runs some camps down here called Elite Edge in Nashville, and Dan Wildhorn was out in the camp too, coaching, and we're still kind of both at that time. I was ready to retire and kind of start it'll be called normal life and getting in the business world, and Dan was coaching at that time. And kind of Dan was still playing, at that time, and then met Dan, and 4 months later, Dan called me and says, "Hey, we have some immigration issues. Hey, you still want to play?" And I was like, "Sure." So that's how I ended up in Shreveport. Meeting Dan in the coaching, and still ended up playing in Shreveport for a couple more years. But yeah, so I got involved in the coaching in the summer times when I was still playing. And I really enjoyed it, and then from there on, kind of took step by step, starting from youth hockey to Tier 3 junior hockey to the North American Hockey League to college, and and obviously done some things internationally with my home country Latvia. That's been exciting. Beat Canada last year at the World Juniors. No big deal on that one, but yeah, it's been awesome. I love it. I love coaching. I love the, obviously, as everybody knows, I'm a passionate coach, but I love and that's how I play too, right? With high intensity and passion. I think you have to do that. But I enjoy. You still get the, it's like the next thing after done you playing. How are you going to replace that passion? How you still enjoy the game and from different aspects of it, right? So I've been really fortunate. Been around great people, and again, one of the best places I've coached is Shreveport. Top down, top notch. One of the top junior programs it starts from the top with Tommy Scott in ownership and Scott Musket, right, running everything on day-to-day basis. And again, when we started it with Francis Anzalone, Mike Gratton, Casey Curley, Soupy, right, Rich Perrant. Those are the people there, in the background, just working and grinding on daily basis, and I was fortunate to work with them.
And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with more here on this North Caddo Express Loop First Intermission Show. Stay tuned for part number 2 of our interview with Carla Zernis coming up in the second intermission as part of the Sonic Drive-In Second Intermission Show. You're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on MATV and the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is Mitchell Reed, and you're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Two nothing Bugs on top after the opening period. Joe Semengo, Willie Tremblay, the goal scorers. And before we get you onto the middle frame here, let's take a quick look at our out-of-town scoreboard here in the North American Hockey League. A few games on the slate on this Tuesday.
Absolutely, Zach. And one of those games has gone final, of course. It's the Elmira Aviators taking down the Rochester Junior Americans 6-3. The Maryland Black Bears, the Eastern Division champions, 4-3 currently lead the New Jersey Titans, and the Aberdeen Wings, they currently lead the Watertown Shamrocks 2-0. That game in the second period. The former, being the Black Bears and Titans, is into the third with 7:40 left. Now let's take a look at some scores from the rest of the sporting world, including the World Baseball Classic. Venezuela leads Team USA 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth. Meanwhile, in the NHL, some NHL action. Islanders lead the Maple Leafs 3-1. Bruins are tied with the Canadiens 2-2. Blue Jackets, they lead the Hurricanes 4-1. The Wild, they lead the Chicago Blackhawks 3-2. The Jets, Winnipeg, they lead the Nashville Predators 2-1. And the San Jose Sharks and Edmonton Oilers game just getting underway. It's goose eggs on the board. Of course, some games still on the NHL docket here on this Tuesday night. The Panthers and the Canucks, the Sabres and Golden Knights, and then the Lightning and the Kraken. Meanwhile, in the National Basketball Association, Hornets 105, Heat 90. That game in the fourth quarter. Thunder 97, Magic 95, Pistons 110, Wizards 91, Knicks 100, Pacers 89, Wolves 64, Suns 63, and Milwaukee, the Bucks 58, the Cavaliers, Cleveland 57. That is all for your Shreveport Regional Airport First Division scoreboard update. Of course, it's brought to you by Shreveport Regional Airports. More flights, more destinations, more often. Of course, they have recently gained more flights to, of course, Nashville, Las Vegas, and, well, a lot of destinations. And, of course, if you want to fly at Shreveport Regional Airport, visit them at flyshreveport.com. That's flyshreveport.com.
That's where we stand here after opening period of play. We'll take one more quick timeout. Second period's on the other side here on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Here, first period, 1-0 Bucks. Here's Tremblay again. Left circle, fires, he scores! He goes 5-hole on Leo Gabriel, and Willie Tremblay will get mobbed down there below the goal line by his teammates. And with 55.6 seconds to go in the first. That was Willie Tremblay's goal. That made it 2-0. Joe Semengo got the first one back at the 12:33 mark. That's where we stand after the opening 20 minutes here in the final regular season meeting between the Bucks and the Brahmas, as the Bucks look to tie up the season series. And Well, they've got some games they need to start winning here, coming down the stretch, looking to hold on to that 5th place spot in the South Division heading into the playoffs. And Lone Star, they're on an 8-game winning streak. They want to keep going because, well, they've got some teams kind of threatening for that first place spot. But they're holding on. They've already clinched, obviously, to go into the playoffs, so they do get to play. And they're going to get a bye because they can't drop all the way to 3rd with the amount of games left. It's mathematically impossible. But it's kind of that pride thing of we've been in first all year, might as well keep it going.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, I can tell you that is a matter of, well, it's true. Dan Wildfong is very much somewhat of a prideful man. And, of course, why wouldn't he be? I mean, ever since taking over this Brahmas organization in 2007, back in the CHL days, he has prided himself in being a coach similar to that of Scott Musket. Of course, then again, you know, you're with Scott Musket for as many years as you are. You're going to take some coaching inspiration from him. But, of course, that is in the past. Now, in the present. Boys up on their feet. Charlie Birchfield on the face-off. And Zach, second period hockey. I'm excited. Let's get her going, brother.
Bugs right to left in his period. They win the face-off all the way back down to our right into the defensive zone. It's Owen Case will start the breakout up ahead for Jonah Jasser. Leaves it off to the middle. That time for Birchfield. Up ahead into the zone. Tremblay whacks at it and steals it away. Tremblay, right corner, below the goal line. Knocked off the puck by Dampoose. He tries to slide it off to the near side. Goes far side now for Sable. Birchfield knocks him down in the corner. Scanlon picks up the loose puck, though. Starts the breakout. Left to right up the far side. And now Birchfield and Sable still whacking at each other back behind the play. Meanwhile, the Brahmas into the zone. Dampoose will fire one, and it's going to be Phillips who closed out in midair for a whistle. 19:23 to go in the first, or in the second period rather. Now Birchfield is still John away as he gets escorted back to the Bugs bench.
Of course, this second period tonight and every Mudbugs game is brought to you by our friends at DeFetta and Associates, investigative and risk analysis services, personal matters, child custody cases, or internal theft problems within your business. Just call our main man, Jerry DeFetta, and the rest of his excellent team at 318-635-9944 to discuss your case, or visit them online at DeFettaPI.com.
On back to the point. Big drive for O'Keefe. Gets flipped up into the air. Glove down by Remy at the top of the crease, and he'll start far side. Up ahead for Earhart to slap it off the wall to center ice. Picked back up by the Brahmas. They dump it in. Went off the man who was trying to come back out. That was Vates, so that'll be an offside violation. 50 seconds into the middle frame. 2-0 Bugs. Tremblay and Semengo, the goal scorers, to give the Bugs their current advantage. Again, trying to even up the season series against the Brahmas. It's amazing how when these two teams play, I mean, I know it's a rivalry series, but every game is so different out there. It's played up ahead now by Hoagland to the blue line, stolen away by Jackson Vates, though. Far side half wall, up ahead into the zone, into the quarter. McFadden below the goal line, tried to hit the trailer in the slot. That was Isaacson. The Bugs will force it over to the near wall, and they'll start to break out towards the blue line, but not out. Held in, Isaacson down the slot for Vates, back to Leo. Wraps it around the kick plate, goes behind the cage, and wrapped around the boards now by Poloni. Can't clear it out, though, with his glove down by O'Keefe at the right hash mark. Slid up the wall to the point and back out to center ice. Duke Earhart's got on his stick, almost lost a handle on it. Takes a hit as he dumps it into the corner, and it goes out of play. To stop time here with 18:31. So another Johnny's Pizza House. Puck out of play. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice of the best pizza in town.
Best pizza in town, and you know, it's funny, a lot of people say they have the best pizza in town, but I think our friends at Johnny's live up to that claim. Just one foodie's opinion. Of course, I think everybody and their mother knows by this point I'm a big food guy, and, well, anything at Johnny's is recommended from me. But we'll get back to that later at some point.
Wolf Talby controls the face-off. He'll wrap it around the boards, around Gabriel, who tried to play it behind the net. Bugs will hold it in, offensive end, eventually stolen away this time now by Capano. First time we mentioned his name tonight. He's usually a big playmaker for Lone Star. Given away, though. DiUlio tried to one time. He whiffed on it. It trickles over along the boards. Flipped out to center. Mitchell Reed gloves it down to his stick. Wolf Talby whacking at it. Now sent ahead for DiUlio. Slides it off to the right for Semengo. Semengo lost the puck back to center. Wolf Talby races after to collect the loose puck. Back to the Bugs blue line. Wrapped around the boards this time now by Mitchell Reed. Gabriel out of his net to play it. Gets redirected up the near side half wall. Reed will pinch and hold it in. Into the corner again. Capano picks it back up. Vincenzo Capano, the 6'0 forward, 27 points in 49 games for him this year, and he's got the puck up the center of the ice. Through the middle logo. Up ahead goes off of Adams, who rubs him off the puck. Bounces free to Owen Case in front of Phillips. Off to the right now, left below the goal line for Reed. Up the left side now for Ryan Barrett. Back across for Owen Case. Case up ahead to Lopez Corsi. Goes off the very top of the glass and somehow stays in play. Gabriel behind the net to play it. Leaves it off that time along the near side for Geller. Also first time we mentioned his name today. Banked off the boards back to center through the skates of Owen Case. Icing is washed out as Evan Adams wins the foot race to it. Wraps it around the boards. Up the near side half wall it comes. At the hash marks. Bugs steal it away. They'll start the breakout up ahead to center. It's Lopez Corsi right side. Griner stayed on side. Lopez Corsi into the slot. Stolen away by Wildfong. And he wants to start the breakout quickly. Up ahead for Dampus. Goes off of his stick. Picked up again by Evan Adams. Works below the goal line and hits the brakes. Will settle it down behind Phillips. 16:52 and rolling here in the middle frame. 2-0 Bugs on top. Bank back out to center ice where it's picked up by Peterson. Lifts it softly to the blue line. Barrett will work back into his own end as he tries to escape Nolan Wildfong. He uses Owen Case as a screen and eventually drops it off for Owen. So Case will start up the breakout. Far side to the right of the logo. Stick handles off to the right. And over the line come the Bugs. Barrett with a shot from the circle. Stopped by Gabriel. And then Chasser takes a hit concurrent with the whistle that time. And he's going to start John away at Peterson as the linesmen step in quickly with 16:30 to go here in the second period. And a good pace to this first period. Both teams are starting to kind of open things up here.
Absolutely. You know, I mentioned the pace last period. At times was a little slow at first, the first couple of minutes, and then it went back and forth throughout the game, and rather throughout the period, I should say. Hopefully it goes back and forth throughout the game because, you know, everybody loves a good back and forth hockey game.
We're going to do this draw again. It looks like Lone Star is going to lose their center, so they'll have to send somebody new into the circle to line up across from Evan Hoagland. Evan Hoagland, again, he's been solid as of late. 16-point streak, points in 7 of his last 8. He's one of the leading scorers on the club as the puck goes off of Vates in front of that, and he'll play it up the wall to himself. Flips it out to the center, glove down by Grayson Gerhard. At his own blue line, works it far side for Remy, who circles back towards his net. On top of the right ring, up ahead now to center ice, back into the Bugs' end. It's controlled by Poloni. Poloni has it stolen away at center before Gerhard will rifle it into the zone. Gabriel out of his net to play, leaves off for Dazardine. Takes a shove against the wall by Hoagland, but the Brahmas played back out to center ice. Poloni snaps it back across for Duke Gerhard at the far circle. Backhanded up the wall for Remy. He corrals it, was back-checking pressure that time by Gustav Lexell for Lone Star. Up ahead, this is potentially going to be icing, and Gerhard's going to win the race, and Gabriel left his crease to play it. Grayson got a touch on the puck before Lone Star will wrap it around the boards, but not out of the zone. Held in the corner by Earhart at the left hash marks. He lost it. Battles through 2 defenders and got the puck back. Remy plays the Karen one-time drive off the wall. Is stopped by Gabriel and held on to for a whistle with 15:34. Now Remy's shot away now after the whistle with Alexander Oliver.
Mentioned the textile-like hands of Remy Pusateri and his passing efforts. Nothing textile about that shot there from Remy Pusateri, able to find it off a loose puck right there. Of course, Leo Gabriel comes up with it. So, yeah, 15:34 left. Bugs lead this one 2-0. Love to see it.
In the corner, Wolf Talby tracks down the loose puck. Bugs are heading out on the road, take on the Odessa Jackalopes this weekend. 2 big games there as the Jackalopes sit a couple of points out of a playoff spot. Brahmas will start the breakout up ahead for Lexell. Poked away from him by John Byrne at center, but eventually played into the zone. That's going to be offside. Bugs return home the following weekend, the 27th to 28th. They closed out the last 2 weeks of the season at home against the Amarillo Wranglers. Friday night is Hirsch Hits Night, celebrating all the wonderful legends that have come through Hirsch Coliseum. And then it's Great Outdoors Night on Saturday against the Wranglers. Head on to tickets.georgetown34.com. And, of course, if you've got a big group coming with you, groups of 10 or more get tickets for just $10 each. Call our lovely staff in the front office, 318-636-7094 to get your group hooked up. And come on out and enjoy some Mudbugs hockey for the last 2 weekends of the home regular season as Tremblay gets knocked down to the blue line. Up ahead, though, for Birchfield. Goes off the edge of his stick. Into the corner it goes for Patrick Vogel. He'll wrap it around the kick plate far side for Veta Cinque. Now the stolen away by Tremblay. Throws it to the middle. Nobody was home, though. And it bounces over to the near wall where Sable picks it up at the near corner. Behind the net for O'Keefe. Slides along the boards. Up to Veta Cinque. They'll play it out to center ice as O'Keefe gets hit behind the play. Bugs force it back into their own zone as Mitchell Reed, who picks it up. Top of the left circle for Jasser. Drops it back for Mitchell, and he'll cycle around. Mitchell Reed, 3 points on the season for him. Solid defenseman for the Bugs as Jasser tried to dump it off the glass. It went off with a stanchion. It bounced back out towards center. Reed will pick it back up. Retreats into his own zone for John Burnt. Tries to snap it to the middle. It's intercepted. 3-on-2. Left side, Tavares. Fired one for the circle. Phillips stepped in front of it with a shoulder to stop it. Great stop that time by Ethan. Wrapped around the boards, comes near side. Held in by Peterson for Lone Star. Knocked off the puck there by his 21 counterpart. Jared Griner centering feed right out in front through the crease. Trickles just wide. Back up top, Peterson. Can't save it at the right point. It goes all the way back into the Brahmas end. Peterson corrals it. Spins off of Jonah Jasser. Up ahead at the red line. Knocked off the puck again. Jasser plays it forward into the zone off the edge of the stick of Jared Griner. He throws some forearm shivers that time, and Jasser knocks a man down behind the play. Up ahead, played into the offensive zone by the Brahmas. John Burnt gets it in front of his netminder. Delayed call up coming now on the Bugs. They're going to be shorthanded as it's touched up by Griner, and he takes a shove up high after the whistle, and everybody's going to come joining in as Tavares goes and skates after Lopez. Corsi linesmen step in. Wild Fongs in the middle of that one as well as they'll head off to the bench, and we'll see what the call is coming up against the Bugs. But we mentioned their solid penalty kill against one of the best power plays in the league, and we're going to see it for the first time here with 13:35 to go in the second. Is holding the stick, rather, is the call on John Burnt. Don't see that one every day. That's a throwback. We've gotten some interesting, rare calls the last couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, of course. The one I think I'm going to probably remember for at least, if not the rest of my life, but a good portion of my life, when Jonah Jasser got awarded the empty net goal against Odessa. And that was an interesting one. And, of course, what happened was he got hauled down. But, again, that's in the past. First choice personal penalty kill. Got to go to work here.
Played to the line, but not out. Held in by the Brahmas. Glove down at the left point by Dampoose. Now tie up. He's got it back. Into the high slot, looking for a play. He's going to pull the trigger. His shot lifted over the net. I think Scanlon might have tipped it, and it went over top the cage. Scanlon gets it back, slides it up left point for Oliver. Oliver, high slot, works now to the right point. Snaps it back across. Left side at the blue line. Down low into the corner. Back up top, Dampoose looks for it. Now Oliver's got it top of the right circle. They play catch there. Oliver gets it back, slides it back up high to the blue line. Dampoose, left drive, big shot there, stopped by Phillips. In the corner it goes. Julio will try to pitchfork it out. He just barely gets it over the Dampoose's stick. Back to center. Julio down to a knee, still playing deep. Now he goes off for a change. Up ahead to Oliver, plays it, and over the line for McFadden. Stolen away from him in the slot by Earhart, and it's banked all the way back down. Another good clear for the Bugs. By the way, on the kill last week, they were 2 of 3. Penalty kill sits 6th in the North American Hockey League at 84%. Meanwhile, Lone Star, their power play has been solid all season long. League's third best, 26.02%. And we kind of mentioned it back and forth, but 4 of the top 6 teams in the North American Hockey League on the power play come from the South Division. 38 seconds to go on the power play for the Brahmas. They'll start the breakout. Up ahead, right side into the zone by Sable. Sable corrals it off of the boards, drops it off for Isaacson. He'll rifle it around the boards. Comes far corner, picked up by Lexell that time. Knocked off the puck, slid back to the blue line, and the Bugs cleared out. They've got an on-man rush the other way. Breakaway all alone. Griner, he scores! Jared Griner, a shorthanded power play breakaway. And it's 3-0 with 11:51 to go.
Jared Griner, love it. And he's got that teal stick right there. Love to see Jared Griner. Just an excellent young man gets rewarded there. Love to see it, especially on this first choice personnel penalty kill. Just an excellent effort there from Jared Griner to read the puck, get on a breakaway, take it right down, get it past Leo Gabriel. 3-0 Bucks. Let's go.
So Lexell that time tried to save it at the left point, and then trickled out where it was played up ahead for Griner, who was waiting for it on top of the Mudbugs logo at center. He got it. And you notice there on that breakaway, what I liked the most from Jared that time, he didn't think about it. He just pulled the trigger, took the shot. Yep. Bugs are up by 3, and they've still got 17 seconds to kill off here. Short-handed goal with 11:51 to go in the second.
Yep. It looks like Dan Wildfong's having a discussion with not only his players, but a little earlier on in that discussion, he was having a discussion with backup goaltender Wesley Demodica. I believe that's how you say his name, Demodica. But we'll have to see if anything changes. I don't think Dan will necessarily pull Leo Gabriel quite yet, but I get the feeling that he's thinking about it, because that's the thing. Dan Wildfong is a thinker. Not only as a player was he a thinker, But in the last 20 years that he's on, well, yeah, actually 20 years that he's been a coach, he's a thinker. And that's a good thing in hockey, to be a thinker. And I guarantee you the fans back in Lone Star appreciate the, well, like I said, some say genius, some say insanity mind of Dan Wildfong, but nonetheless, we'll have to check out the goaltending situation there of the Lone Star Brahmas as the Mudbugs now have been cleared off the ice and get ready, get back to action. Let's go.
Jared Griner, his 7th goal of the season, his 2nd season with the Bucks, his first goal since the 6th of March against Odessa. That was earlier this month. His last goal part of that was all the way back in January, so he's accelerating offensively. There's Tavares in the slot. He pushed one just wide. Rebound comes near side and trying to poke at it was Wildfong, unable to put it home. Burns out of the box. We're back 5-on-5, and John Burns got the puck on his stick. Far side, wraps it around the board. Gabriel out of his net to play it. Below the goal line now, leaves it off, and Remy's throwing the body, forced a turnover. Up ahead, it's Semengo, tried to feed it for Dulia. He wanted to one time, it couldn't get it cleanly though. Here's Owen Case, left point, his shot goes off the back of the net. Played below the goal line again by the Bucks. It's Semengo, slides it back up top for Case. Case, left point, his shot tipped by Gerhard, and gloved down by Leo Gabriel for a whistle. And now we got another meeting of the minds here before media timeout. By the way, before we head to break, that is the 6th shorthanded goal of the season for the Bugs. They've got a 3-0 advantage. 11:04 to go in the middle frame. Back in a moment here on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Hey, this is Mitchell Reed, and you're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network with Zach Grant and Duncan Welker. Now let's get back to the action. Claws up.
Bird also served as an operations
Jared Griner with the latest goal for the Bugs at the 11:51 mark, shorthanded on a breakaway. Makes it 3-0 with 11:04 here to go in the second period. I'd like to remind you that Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey is always brought to you by our friends at Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice of the best pizza in town. I'd also like to remind you that Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplaces, gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantles, and grills. They've got it all. Located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters. Bugs offense rolling. Semengo, Tremblay, Griner, the goal scorers. 3-0 to score, but can't let your guard down, Duncan. Still plenty of hockey left to play on this Tuesday night.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. As the McKay Consulting hometown hero, a special one to many Mudbugs fans in this building, as well as Mudbugs owner Tommy Scott. Jeff Bird is your McKay Consulting hometown hero. Went to elementary school at Shreve Island with his daughter Carson Bird. You know, it's funny. One of the first people I reached out to when I was reaching out to Shreveport people was Carson Bird. And, you know, I've talked with her a little bit since I've been back here with the Bugs, but the Bird family are great people.
Grayson Gerhard throws it to the middle in the slot for Adams. Slides it back up top for Owen Case. Case left side, Hoagland at the dot, tried to feed it to the middle. It was Earhart who was cutting down the middle, but that's stolen away. Isaacson's got it left of the net. Far or near half wall now for Jackson Vate. Slides it to the middle. Case got a tip on it, but McFadden wins the foot race to it. He'll wrap it around the boards on the far side for Oliver. Tries to cycle back the other way. Now it's backhanded around the boards for the Bugs. Trying to start the breakout is Gerhard. He'll poke it back to the middle, so they clear out the trouble for a moment. Najradine spins away from Hoagland. Najradine off the boards up ahead now. Picked up by Adams in front of his net. Adams rifled it off the boards, far side. Played back at center by the Brahmas as there's a Lone Star player get knocked down. Gerhard saves it. Here's Hoagland to the middle. Now Grayson's got it back. Right point. Slides it across. I don't know how he got it through traffic to Owen Case. He plays it into the far corner now. Picked up there. Najradine will cycle it around far side now for O'Keefe again. Oliver gets knocked off the puck. Here's Tyson Scanlon, far side at the right dot. We'll start the breakout up ahead. Scanlon through the middle logo. Now cuts into the offensive zone, right side, knocked off the puck. Heads up play that time on defense before he takes a face full of boards that time. Losing a tire that time on defense. Now it's played up ahead by Sable. Knocked out to center. Birchfield skates around him. Dampoose will hit the break, and then Birchfield gets tripped up. There's a call coming up as Leo Gabriel stuck his stick out and tripped up Charlie Birchfield. Cutting down the slot, it's touched up. Actually, they're going to call goalie interference on Charlie Birchfield, and he's not going to be too happy with that as Gabriel came out of his crease to stick his stick out to make sure that Birchfield fell over it, and instead they go with goalie interference, and Birchfield is still yapping away at the referee there as he's escorted to the box, and well, George's Pound crowd not going to be too happy about that one.
Oh, absolutely not. Even down in front of us, Cheryl Johnson from S&D Fire Protection, not happy about that. Meanwhile, on the other side, literally, I do mean the other side of them on the left, the Brahma fans who made their way over from North Richland Hills, Texas, are pretty happy about that call. But either way, this first choice personnel penalty kill goes back to work as Jason Toopy Campbell gets an explanation from both men with the stripes. And so, again, 2 minutes on the board for goaltender interference to Charlie Birchfield. So again, this Bugs first choice personnel penalty kill has to go to work and has to keep this a 3-0 hockey game. Because again, it goes back to one of those coaches' keys of the game, win the special teams battle. So, nonetheless though, Tyson Scanlon for the Brahmas, Vinny Julio for the Bugs. And
It's up goes towards the blue line. Mitchell Reed knocks a man down. Now it's Ventus Sinque who got knocked down. He's looking at the referee for a call. Brahmas are on the power play. 10 seconds in as it's played by Oliver as the Boo Birds start raining down here from George's Pond. So now Brahmas are holding the puck behind the net, wasting off a good 20 seconds of their power play clock. Up ahead is McFadden. Drop back into the Bugs end. Now start out for Dampoose. Leaves it off at the center circle. Brahmas are going south here. Now the Bugs almost steal it away. That was Julio cutting down, and now the Bugs do chip it back into the Brahmas end. Minute 19 seconds to go. Brahmas have not gotten past center ice on this power play. Now they'll start the breakout up at Scanlon right side. Scanlon rumbles into the offensive zone, hits the brakes at the circle, wraps it around the boards. Remy tries to get a stick on it. Ventusinque is going to win the foot race before Remy shoves him off the wall there along the far side kick point. That goes back up to the blue line, held in by Tyson Scanlon as Remy gets hauled down. Here's a big chance, right out in front, push just wide of the net. Great chance that time, and a big hit. Mitchell Reed knocks McFadden down to the ice. Brahmas still have an offensive end. Oliver snaps it across. Left point, Dampoose back near side for Scanlon. Scanlon pulls the trigger. Lifted over the net. Comes far side again. Jasper got a piece of it, but Scanlon holds on to it in the offensive end. Brahmas have it. Now Oliver. Right circle. His drive never got to that. Blockered away, but the Bugs can't clear. Held in again by Dampoose, right point. Tried to get around Jonah Jasser. Spins it back up top for Oliver. Oliver in the slot. Kicked away by Semengo. Goes off the boards. Brahmas still have an offensive end. McFadden centering feed for Ventusinque. Tried to hit him on the doorstep. Turned aside by the Bugs, and Remy will force it out of the zone. And he'll dump it in and head off for a change. It goes on net. Gabriel has to play it into crease. Dampoose got it back. 9 seconds to go on the power play for the Brahmas. 7.5 to go in a second. And Lone Star wisely going to hold on to the puck to make sure Birchfield can't force an odd man rush coming out of the box. Now the Brahmas skate ahead. Right side. Cohen around Birchfield. Nice move there by Grayson. He circles it towards the blue line. Held in just barely by the Brahmas after the Bucks got a piece of it in the D zone. It's Adams has it through his skates. Now gets it back to his stick. Fed up the half wall near side towards the blue line, but still not out. Now it goes off of Birchfield, who plays it ahead. Charlie into the zone far side. Run off the puck that time by O'Keefe, but he's still got it. Takes a huge hit and goes down behind the net. Now Owen K snaps it across. High slot. Adams' drive stopped in front, and then Birchfield is going to go at it with Grayson Cohen as they exchange cross checks after the whistle. Charlie felt he got robbed when he got called for a penalty. Then he got knocked down behind the play, and now he's John away still at Grayson Cohen as he gets escorted to the bench. And things starting to boil over here in a 3-0 game with 6:51 to go here in the second.
Oh, absolutely. See, now this part is your classic Mudbugs Brahmas rivalry. Intense chippiness as the birthdays are announced. Of course, as we mentioned, Tommy Scott's birthday. St. Tommy's Day here at George's Bonaside Hearst Coliseum. Happy birthday to Mudbugs owner, Tommy Scott. But now Birchfield's a chippy one, I'll put it like that.
Here's Reed's shot from the left point, turned aside. Burnt gets it back in the corner, wraps it around the boards. Wildfong will track it down behind the Brahma net. Sends up the near wall. It's Griner spun off the puck. Griner had the third of the 3 Mudbugs goals where they hold a 3-0 advantage. 6.5 to go in the second. Bucks try to get out of the zone. Brahman's forced another turnover in the D zone before Griner gets it back. He gets knocked off stride, blows the tire, goes down in the corner. Buck squirts free far side for Burt. Wraps it up towards the blue line. Held in by Nasruddin as he skates after it. In a corner, glove down again. Tavares cycles back up towards the blue line. He'll wrap it around the kick plate. And Mitchell Reed is mugging somebody right in front of the Bucks net that time. Comes up the near side. Tavares at the right point. Tries to play it deep. Bugs get a piece of it and work it back out to center ice. Griner will dump it in from the red line, and he's going to skate off to the bench, and Bugs will wholesale changes except for Ryan Baird, who stays out there. He shoves Peterson from behind. Now the Brahmas started the breakout, 5:51 to go in the second. Tavares dumps it and goes off as Poloni will race after loose puck. Poloni, he's still got it behind Phillips. Works off to the right of the net. He'll start the breakout, moving right to left in the second period are the Bugs in the purple and teal. Up ahead, Tremblay gets knocked down at the blue line. And Jason Soupy Campbell throws his arms in the air looking for a call. Not going to get one. Up ahead, it's a 2-on-2 developing, and that's offside as Dampoose went with the extra stick handle. Now Tremblay going to skate after the referee that time looking for a call. And that's not going to get one here. Face-off comes back out to neutral with 5:28.
Brahmas were just a step ahead of each other, and of course that leads to another offside. And you know that seems to be the thing. A lot of people say don't take the extra pass when on a scoring opportunity. I've heard some coaches say just go in. Don't be, well, not go in necessarily. That's offsides. Just wait. But honestly, I get the feeling the Brahmas don't want to necessarily wait things. They want to run and gun, as they've been doing all night, Zach. And that's the thing. It'll work, but it'll catch you, especially at moments like that.
The Brahmas near side Capano takes a check as he wraps it around the boards. Pusateri grabs it off the half wall. Slid up the wall now for Wolf Tolby. Back out to center ice. Touched dead by Semengo. Stolen away by the Brahmas. And then Joe gets it right back. The Philly kid wraps it off of the skates that time of 27 White. That was Lexell to get it to his man. Playing the ping pong battle there. Now goes behind Gabriel in the defensive end. And then a bug. That's Euler gets knocked into the goal crease. Knocks the net off, and he'll throw his stick over along the near wall, and he looks right at the referee. Wanted to draw a call that time, doesn't get it. 4:58, and now we've got away from the play. Semengo, and then Pusateri grabs the hold that time of, that looks like Alexander Oliver. Oliver stands 5'10". Remy's at 6'4". That would be fun to see, but linesmen step in quickly for a whistle here. 4:58 left to go in the second. Bucks are going to get an ozone draw coming out of this.
I get the feeling that's why there's 4 stripes out there, and of course 2 in the orange. I get the feeling that's why, because they want a nice, relatively clean game. Let's be honest, relatively clean game, because it hasn't been as squeaky clean. Don't get me wrong, but I get the feeling that's why the league. I get the feeling the league said, "Hey, make sure everything's okay over there." I get the feeling, but sometimes history repeats itself.
Well, the Bucks and Brahmas can play clean. They had one game this year that only had 2 penalties in total.
Yep.
I'm not sure we'll ever see that again in the course of history, as now the Brahma center gets thrown out. Vetacinque in to take it. Far side, lines up across from Charlie Birchfield back out there as he plants his skates, and he wins the draw. Back to the blue line. Jonah Jasser fires one. Now comes near side again for Birchfield. Wraps it around behind the net. Far side, eventually tracked down by Grayson Cohen. Slides up the wall for Tyson Scanlon. Flips it ahead across 3 Bugs defenders. And over the line is Sable now. Hits the brakes, and he got knocked off the puck as he had no help. He had 3 Bugs right on him in the corner. Flip back up to the wall, but not out. Cohen holds it in. Bugs get it back below the goal line. Defensive end wrapped around near side. Adams. Adams banks it off the wall, takes the check. Tremblay will stick it down back into the Brahmas end. Lone Star controls, trailing 3-0 here with 4:22 left to go. Tremblay forces the turnover. High slot, it's Jasser, goes off the edge of his stick. Back out top for Owen Case, and then Tremblay coming back out of the zone, touched it. So that'll be an offside whistle. Neutral zone drop. Covenant are going to bring it just outside of the Bugs end with 4:15 to go in the middle frame.
Coming up after this 4 minutes and 15 seconds, the second part of my conversation with Carlos Zernis. As I mentioned back in the first, he had a lot to say about not only his time in Shreveport as both a player and a coach, but just an interesting conversation all around. And, well, Zerny, if you're listening out there, thank you for pretty much everything you've done for this organization, and hopefully you can make it on out here to George's Pond inside Hurst Coliseum.
Bugs clearing attempt that time, hit the stanchion so it stays in. Below the goal line, it's Geller. Geller throws it to the middle. Earhart gets a piece of it, now leaves it off for John Burt. They play catch again behind the net. John Burt, far corner, up ahead for Grayson Garrett, goes off the edge of his stick. He plays it for Evan Hoagland. Hoagland into the offensive zone, left side. Lost the puck that was Scanlon sewed away, and then Hoagland knocks Scanlon into the boards. Flipped up the wall again towards the blue line and started back out by the Brahmas. Up ahead, it's intercepted, though, by Mitchell Reed at center. Now into the zone quickly is Gerhardt. Gerhardt up ahead for Duke, cut down the slot. Goes on Dan, and Gabriel will wisely pounce on top of it for a whistle here with 3:31 left in the second. 3-0 Bugs on top on this Tuesday night. Last time we're going to see the Brahmas in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I could watch these two teams play a million more times, but that wouldn't be fair to everybody else. But
it would be more fun, though.
Oh, yeah, no, it would definitely be more fun. And, of course, as always, Mudbugs Hockey is brought to you by our friends at Down Home Meats. Grilling outdoors, hearty and flavorful sausage for breakfast or anything else. Down Home Meats has got you covered. Hello.
A shot gets turned aside, goes in the far corner for Adams. Adams tries to slide it up to the blue line. It's intercepted, though, by Lone Star. Goes ping-ponging off the Bugs and all the way down where Phillips will go to the left of his net to play it. Feeds it off the wall, wide of Semengo's stick. Almost give it away in front of the net. Adams will pick up the loose puck on patrol that time, and he'll hang out behind the net. 3 minutes in rolling here, second period on his Tuesday night from George's Pond, Irish Coliseum here in Shreveport as the Bugs hosting the Brahmas, and they've got a 3-0 lead right now as Julio wraps it into the corner, below the goal line, eventually picked back by Isaacson. Julio will shove him off the wall. 4-car pile up as the boards go rocking down there behind the cage. Flipped up the near side. Sable up ahead, off of the boards for Jackson Vates. He skates after it. Vates cuts to the middle. His shot back in into crease. Rebound comes off the side of the net. Great stop there by Phillips as the crowd lets him know about it. And the Bugs will start up again. Here's Adams, right side. Spins off a defender. Works back below the goal line. Snaps the near side now for Owen Case. Case ahead. Touched into the zone by Griner. Griner's got to chase after Gabriel out of his net to play it. Wraps it around on near side boards. Picked up that time by Cohen. Cohen off to his right along the boards. Knocking it down is Capano. Gets hit after he released the puck. Now Poloni will rifle around the boards for Gabe Lopez Corsi. Gabe snaps into open ice, far side. Barrett over the line will take a shot from the blue line. Got hit. Goes off the side of the cage. Griner throws it towards the middle. Was trying to hit a man on the doorstep that time. Turned aside, though, by Lucier that time. Now everybody gets tied up behind the wall. Liam O'Keefe will race after it. He's got the loose puck for the Brahmas. Up to center. And over the line, three-player entry. That goes off the back of the net. Now Capano got a touch on it for the Bugs, sealed away. They're trying to go with numbers here. 4-on-2 developing if they can hurry. Far side Griner down to the bottom of the right circle. Cuts towards the net. Got knocked off stride on a back check that time by 21 at white. That's Austin Peterson. Now it's a 5-car pileup behind the net. Bugs are switching some bodies out while they have a chance to. Puck gets worked free in the slot. Turn and fire. That shot blocked away. Kick save that time to the far wall. Picked up by Liam O'Keefe. He's knocked off the puck and then knocks Barrett down, who still slides it up towards the blue line. Bugs have an offensive end. Minute and 7 seconds to go here in period number 2. As Barrett goes off for a change. In the corner, Peterson's got it. Slides it over for Tyson Scanlon. Scanlon starts a breakout. Off the far half wall, banked back out to center. Jonah Jasser tracks it down. Pitchforks it over now for Reed. Reed up headed to open ice for Tremblay. Left of the center circle. Willie cuts down the slot. His shot. Kick save into the near corner. Birchfield spun off the puck that time by Peterson. He gets knocked into the boards. Tremblay takes a hit. Puck comes back out to center ice. Reed picks it up to the left of the center circle, and he gave it away. Got knocked down by Scanlon. Here's Ventasinkwe down the slot. Around 2 defenders. Cuts towards the net. Loose to the blue paint. Phillips got a piece of it. Slid back up top. Big drive. Stopped again in the slot. Okay, Oliver fired one. Rebound. Comes out in front for Scanlon, who pushed it just wide. Phillips keeps it out. 22 seconds to go as the crowd rises to their feet. Ventasinkwe again. Right circle. In the slot. Knocked off the puck, and the Bugs will start it out the other way. And Ventasinkwe throws a couple of cross checks Jasser's way. Comes all the way down. 9 seconds to go. Brahmas might have time for one last rush. Up ahead, Julio touches it. Here's Sable. Sable into the zone. Drops it off. Left side at the point. Dampoose will fire one at the buzzer. Turned aside by Phillips. He stands tall as Vinny DiUlio gets mixing it up behind the net that time with Patrick Vogel. The linesman step in, but what a sequence defensively in that 30 seconds for the Bucks. It was 4 Brahma's chances. The barrage of shots that Ethan Phillips says not tonight. 3-0 after the opening 2.
No, you're absolutely right. Ethan Phillips, what an excellent sequence there, not only by Ethan Phillips, but the Bucks defense. You know, Zach, Ethan Phillips right there, he made sure that he played on top with his game, and he made sure that he knows it's everybody's game with the fans in George's Pond saying, Ethan Phillips, yeah.
They've got their money's worth tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Good offense, good defense, both sides. Leo Gabriel's been solid.
Oh, absolutely.
Those 3 goals he's given up, maybe one of them he might want back. The other 2, it's a giveaway by his defense on the power play, and then the other one was just a beautifully set up play as the Brahmas will head off to the locker room, as do the Bugs, as Jonah Jasser standing over by the Bugs bench in the national anthem standoff, as we've seen the last couple of weeks here. And, well, we're 2/3 of the way home, Duncan. It's 3-0 in favor of the Bucks. The goal scorers for Shreveport, Semengo, Tremblay, and Griner. That'll take us into the second intermission, the Sonic Drive-In second intermission report, coming up on the other side on the Bucks Broadcast Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantles, and grills. They've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is Mitchell Reed, and you're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Welcome back to the Sonic Drive-In second intermission show, delivered to you by our friends at Sonic Drive-In. Sonic Drive-In, this is how we Sonic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, part number 2 of our interview with former Mudbugs player and former Mudbugs head coach, Carlos Zernis.
And you mentioned yourself being a passionate coach. You know, there's a story on one of the more league. I don't want to be mean to it, but I'm going to say it. One of the league gossip rags, Vietnam. There's a story from a
controversial website or app, whatever you want to say.
That's the one. Yeah. There was a story about when it was around World Junior time, and you were actually going up to Latvia, where you had a bit of a bench rage, to put it lightly. Is that right?
I would say bench rage. was just a referee, right? So I didn't think it was refereeing fairly. Let's just say that. We had some words exchanged, and maybe it was a little bit over the top, but got the boys going, and I knew if they suspend me, I'll be gone for a while with the World Juniors, and if they suspend me, I was not going to be there anyways. Right. So I might as well leave with a little bit of bang and a little bit stick throwing, water ball throwing. So again, at the end of the day, made it a good story out of it, and again, that year, everything we kind of did, it obviously worked out for us, and winning the championship that year.
Absolutely, and it's funny. I've heard that story from a few different people. Of course, former voice of the Mudbugs, Chet Yoder, he told it, and of course Dom told it, and it's good to actually hear it from where it happened, as opposed to second, third, however many hands it counts. Now, Zerny,
that makes the story great, right? Because everybody's got their own story.
Oh yeah.
Right. So that makes it great. So.
Oh yeah. Now, of course, Zerny, with that Robertson Cup championship team, of course, winning championships in general is something that Mudbug fans are, of course, not only accustomed to, but it's an expectation. It's funny. Every time I come into offices, I see the Mudbug way. The leaders create culture. Culture drives behavior. Behavior produces results. Is that one of the things you try to preach to each and every one of your guys? Obviously not. It's not just the Mudbug way, but just kind of what I mentioned. The leaders creating culture, things like that. Is that something you strive to teach your players and teach young hockey players each and every day?
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it, right? Obviously, every coach, as long as you go the path of coaching, you're learning from other people. But Scott Musk has been one of my great mentors that, just the way Scott, talks and just gets your juices flowing, right? And how passionate Scott is about the culture. That's one of the, biggest things I've learned from him, being around him on it, right? So yeah, absolutely. Culture is the biggest thing on it, right? And how I told you before, right? You have to work. You got to come to the rink and work every day, and that's the culture, right? And trying to get better. Come to the rink, get better every day, right? And just to talk about Dom being professional, and that's the part of it, right? You come in and you work every day. Are you going to win every time? No, but that's not guaranteed. But you give yourself a best chance of that. If your culture is good, you have great people that come to the rink and work every day and trying to get better, right? Eventually, the puck's going to bounce your way.
Absolutely. And Zerny, I got two more questions for you, then I'm going to let you get going. The first one being, of course, you mentioned how you got into Shreveport, as a whole, of course, the 2006-07 season with the immigration issues and stuff like that. Now, let me ask you something. When you played here, you wore the number 9. Was there any particular reason behind that number? I'm sure my dad probably has a not better idea, but has a general idea. But any reason behind the number 9?
Well, 10 was taken, and Dave was not going to give me his, right? So obviously, when I played in Colorado, it was number 10. Maybe that's, and I like number 10. Maybe that's the European soccer thing, right? Like number 10 in soccer, usually players wear number 10. And then when I got to Shreveport, right, they're like, well, 10, you can't get 10. Right, so I went with 9 because it was closest number to 10. So I didn't mind 9 too, and I thought it was a good also soccer number. So yeah, so there's nothing crazy to it about it, but it's just the closest one to 10. And Dan Wildfong was selfish not giving me his number and welcoming me to the team, but that's another story.
I love it. All right, Zerny, last question for you, and then I'm gonna let you get going. Of course, I go back to that Robertson Cup championship team. What was the emotion? Of course, you've mentioned it, and everybody and their mothers mentioned it with Carlos Ernest. What was the emotions that was going through your head as soon as the final buzzer blew there up in Blaine, Minnesota, when you won that Robertson Cup?
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing was a relief on a personal note, right? Because it was just such a grind, and the expectations you put on yourself. The first thing was the relief, right? People a lot of times say win-win. What is it? First of all, it was a relief, but then it was just happiness about not myself, but just everybody, right? Just the guys that you come to the rink every day and put the work into it. That was, again, part of it was just happiness because I didn't bring championship to Shreveport when I was a player, right? So that'd be like the next best thing, right? Bring a championship to Shreveport as a coach. But then the next thing, just to just see the joy of the guys, winning it and then working all year and then getting rewarded at the end of it. Also, just joy of seeing the community after we came back and having the parade and the people that supported. That's what makes Shreveport so great because it's such a community team, right? People, the Mudbugs do a great job in the community, going to schools, promotions, etc., all that kind of stuff. They do a fantastic job with that. So it's a really community-driven team, and obviously just to bring championship up. Again, Muskie gave me opportunity to get coach there and kind of progress my career in coaching. Just happy for him and happy for the ownership group, right? So because again, we can't have a team without somebody putting the money up front, right? So that's huge. That's the joy of it, right? Of that, the ownership group of Muskie, the guys, and the community itself, and the fans, and everybody else. So
absolutely, Zerny. And I kind of lied when I asked, but it's a semi question. If you had to pick one player from that Robertson Cup championship team that you think is going to be, if not a future NHL star, because obviously there are a lot of potential future NHL stars that have come from this Mudbugs organization. But if you had to pick one from the back of your mind that that would play at a really high level or that should be playing at a high level at this point, who would it be?
Well, obviously, Gustav Grigel's done the most success, right? That from that team, even if he shared a little bit of net with Castor that year. But he's done obviously Dom's done really well. Obviously, maybe NHL is not it, but he's made a good career out of it, right? And still playing in Huntsville. And as you know, Huntsville is one of the coolest places to play pro hockey on it. So with that being said, it's Gustav Grigel's done the most successful on it. Is he going to play in NHL? I don't know. Maybe not, right? Who knows? He's playing in Finland. Had a little bit he was basically a black ace at the Olympics just recently in Milan. So he's been on NHL rosters, been on NHL camps, and that's one of the guys that's done the most successful, right? Obviously, a lot of guys from that team are done now playing and transitioning in the normal jobs in their life, and hopefully with age goes they'll start coaching, right? And maybe their Don Procopio could be coaching in the future. That's he wants to. So maybe he one day be coaching in NHL, right? Maybe not as a player, but maybe in a different role in NHL.
Right. All right, Zerny. Now this is the actual last question. Then I'm gonna let you get going. Best food in your time in Shreveport, and I ask that because I think everybody knows at this point. I'm a big food guy. Best food during your time in Shreveport, either as a player, as a coach, just in general. Favorite food from your time in Shreveport?
I'm not a foodie guy, right? So, but I can't remember the place. Obviously, crawfish, right? And when it's in the season, it's more not like necessarily I enjoy crawfish. It's good, but it's the experience. Right? We talk about community, right? It's just the crawfish boil and just the food on the table and just getting together, with the guys or the fans down there in the community and all that kind of stuff. That's what I kind of remember of it. The one place I used to go to quite a bit, I couldn't remember the name of it right now. It was kind of like a gas station that's built into the store, and obviously down there I spent quite a bit get good po' boys down there. So it was a good place down there. So I couldn't tell you the name of it right now on top of my head. I just remember it was a gas station that's built in the kind of not hole in the wall, but it was a good place. But obviously there's great places down there to eat. It's Freeport's known for, right, for their Louisiana style little Cajun food like that. You can't go wrong anywhere.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, Zerny, that is all the questions I have for you. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back here on this
Sonic Drive-In second intermission show. Once again, I'd like to thank my guest, former Mudbugs head coach and former Mudbugs player, Carl Lazernis, for allowing us to converse with him this evening. You're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on NATV and the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Know that Shreveport Regional Airport offers more daily flights than any other nearby airport. Daily flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Denver, and Houston means you're one stop from anywhere in the world. Make the short drive to Shreveport and start your vacation sooner.
Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke-flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun Flint or dive into a sweep the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
This is Ramesses Tremblay, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
3-0 Bugs. Here in the second intermission, welcome back into our second intermission report brought to you by our friends at Sonic Drive-In. This is Howie Sonic. What a hockey game this has been. 3-0 is our score, although I don't think that's really indicative of the game that's been unfolding before us. Been plenty of great chances for Lone Star, but Ethan Phillips has been the difference thus far in a hockey game. So before we get you set here in the third period, we've got some things to look at here. Let's first take a look at our game summary and kind of recap how we got to this point. Joe Semenko got the scoring started with an assist from John Byrne back at the 12:33 mark of period number 1. Willie Alexis Tremblay with his 6th of the year followed up in the final minute of the first. That made it 2-0 Bugs heading into the middle frame. Jared Griner shorthanded on a breakaway off a beautiful feed from Remy Pusateri. The 11:51 mark of the second. That made it 3-0 where we stand right now. Just 3 penalties on the board, 2 against the Bugs and 1 against the Brahmas. Not often you get to say that heading into the third period of a Bugs-Brahmas game. And look at the shot totals. They're pretty telling of how the game has gone so far. Even at 10 in the first frame, and then Lone Star actually outshot the Bugs in the second, 9-7 for a total of 19-17 in favor of the Brahmas. And again, it's been back and forth all night. Don't let the scoreboard fool you. There's been some great goals scored. There's been some great goaltending, just all around a great hockey game here on this Tuesday night at George's Pond. And before we do get set here in the third period, let's take a quick look at our out-of-town scoreboard tonight. Elmira, the Aviators, topping the Rochester Junior Americans 6-3, which is crazy. They win by 3 goals, yet the Rochester Junior Americans outshot them by 20. The shots on goals totals 49-29 in that game, but Elmira comes away with the victory after a 4-goal third period. Maryland continues their hot streak, 5-3 victors against the New Jersey Titans. Aberdeen and Watertown, the former home of Charlie Birchfield, getting underway here in the third period. 4-1 Aberdeen is on top. Shots are even in that one, 24-24. They had a 3-goal barrage in the second period to take the lead over the Shamrocks. And then this game, 3-0 heading into period number 3. We'll take a quick timeout. The third period comes on the other side here on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Congratulations! You kept a plant alive another day. You deserve a refreshing reward. Introducing new Whataburgers from Whataburger. You finally returned a text. Thumbs up emoji. You hung up a shirt. You changed a light bulb. You walked the dog around the whole block. Attaboy, it's treat time. The new Prickly Pear Raspberry Whataburger from Whataburger.
An icicle treat for every small feat. What a burger.
Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke-flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
Sable into the zone, drops it off, left side at the point. Dampoose will fire one at the buzzer, turned aside by Phillips. He stands tall as Vinny DiUlio gets mixing it up behind the net that time with Patrick Vogel, the linesman, step in. But what a sequence defensively in that 30 seconds for the Bucks. It was 4 Brahmas. And that was the difference so far in the hockey game. 3-0 to score. Ethan Phillips has stopped 19 of 19. And you know, the shot totals don't always tell you a good story because is it 19 good shots, 19 bad shots? Well, let me tell you what, of those 19 chances for the Brahmas, a good handful, probably in double digits, are quality scoring chances, and 5 of those came in that 30-second sequence to end the second period. Ethan Phillips making some amazing saves to keep the Brahmas off the board to this point in the hockey game. Zach Grant back with you here for the start of the third period at Georges Pond Hirsch Coliseum. The Mudbugs looking to snap their 2-game losing streak, and they've got a 3-goal advantage. Lone Star trying to hold on to their 8-game winning streak. They've got some work to do in the final 20 minutes here tonight. They sit in first place. They have dominated the South Division all season long. They've been in first place most of the season, if not all of the season for the get-go. So they have been a solid hockey team tonight, and again, we kind of mentioned it, but 3-0 is not indicative of kind of the game we've seen thus far. Bugs have played really well. It's a great effort after a disappointing weekend last weekend in New Mexico, but the Brahmas came to play as well. Speaking of the Brahmas, they have the second best record in the North American Hockey League. Just crazy to think when you come in at 36-10, but Maryland is all over everybody in the East Division. They're 44-5-3-1. Incredible. They're going to be formidable. As before we have the start of the third period, the 2 referees over there talking to head coach of the Bunks, Jason Soupy Campbell, as the teams huddle in front of their respective benches. By the way, the Bugs are on the road this weekend against the Odessa Jackalopes. Big series there, and Odessa sits 7 points out of the last playoff spot. And the Bugs and Warriors are tied for 5th and 6th. Then the Bugs will return home for the final 2 weeks of the season, taking on the Amarillo Wranglers and the El Paso Rhinos, respectively. And Amarillo, Friday and Saturday, 27th and 28th. That'll be, again, a big couple of games there as well for the Bugs. Amarillo is all but eliminated mathematically at this point, but going to be Hirsch Hits Nights on Friday, honoring the long legacy of rock and roll legends playing at this building. And for those of you who might not be as familiar with Hirsch Coliseum, that famous phrase, Elvis has left the building, was coined right here in Shreveport at this building. So there's a little bit of history for you rock and roll fans out there listening with us. We're ready to go here, third period. Bucks have switched sides, of course. They'll skate left to right across your video screen to start off the third period, powered by our friends at Delta Utilities. No one's below. Call 811 at least 48 hours before digging any projects. Brahmas lost a stick. That's Vates. Stick broke on the faceoff. He rumbles into the corner against Owen Case as the Bucks will work it out of their own zone now. Up at it, banked off the wall by Hoagland. Glove down at the left point by Dampoose. He'll send it around the board. Isaacson picks it up back of Phillips. Now it's Vates. Big drive over top the net. Never got there, actually, as it went off a buck in front. Owen Case picks it back up below the goal line. He'll start the break out. Works off to his left. Now drops it back into the zone for Adams. Adams off the wall. Touched head by Grayson Gerhard. Into the offensive end. In the corner. Shoved off the puck there is Peterson. He's got it against Evan Hoagland. Now it's wrapped around the boards far side. Let's go. Mudbugs chance starts here at Georges Pond. Gerhard tries to throw it to the middle. Glove down by Duke at the left circle. Slides it backhand up to the point. Big drive for Remy. Pushed it just wide. Comes along the right hash marks now. Hoagland again in the corner. Tied up off the puck. Wrapped around the boards for Gerhardt below the goal line. Now leaves it off for Duke. Duke cycles up the hash marks to Adams. At the right point, his shot blockered away in front. Peterson got a piece of it, went off the side of the cage. Puck squirts free, far corner. Up top for Remy. Remy down low to the bottom of the left circle. Cuts through the net, fires one in the blue paint, and Gabriel will squeeze the pads together and hang on with 18:49 to go. Getting his third period. As we look back at it here in period number 3, it was again Joe Semengo who got the scoring start. He got a tip on John Burns' slap shot at the 12:33 mark of the first period. Willie Tremblay followed up in the final minutes of period number 1 to make it 2-0 before the break. And then Jared Griner scoring a breakaway goal midway through the second puts us where we stand now. As the Brahmas will control the face-off, try to get out of their own zone. It went through their own crease. Now it's up ahead, touch to the blue line to center ice. John Burns had to go through his skates, but he gets a piece of it and backhands it back into the Brahmas end. Gabriel plays it behind the cage. Off to the right side for Alexander Oliver. He's shoved off the puck by Wolf Talby. Chipped up the board towards the blue line, held in by Vinny DiUlio. Semengo's got it through his skates. Now held in at the left point by Mitchell Reed as he takes the check from Capano. Shot goes on net. Gabriel will play it off to the right side and leave it behind the cage as Lone Star settles it down, trying to get the chess pieces in the right places. Nazarene snaps it off to the right side. Up the half wall, played up to center ice. And now we're going to get a whistle here in neutral ice. And a red line faceoff coming up here with 18:08 left to go in the third. Mudbugs fans, if you're looking for the perfect place to host your next event, George's Pond, they've got you covered. Hockey, skate, ice time, party rooms, club experiences, all kind of great things. Here at George's Pond Irish Coliseum, call the front office 318-636-7094 to book your event today. And now the face-off's going to be redone here at center, so that was just a dress rehearsal. As Tyson Scanlon, I think, got a piece of that a little bit early. He's lined up across from Charlie Birchfield at center ice, right on top of the Mudbugs logo. Freshly repainted logos. They were done out last night, so they look great out there. Wonderful general manager Scott Musket on the ice crew here. Wrapped around the boards far side by O'Keefe, and that goes up into the bench and out of play. So another Johnny's Pizza House puck out of play. Johnny's Pizza House lets you a slice of the best pizza in town. So as we look at what's at stake here tonight, again, Lone Star has an 8-game winning streak. They have outscored their opponents 35-15 over that 8-game stretch. They sit at 36-10, 1-4 overall. They're 19-4, 1-2 on the road, and they're 8-2 in their past 10 games. This is a regular season finale between these two teams. Only time they'll see each other is in the Robertson Cup playoffs, and hopefully these two will get to match up once again. Into the corner it goes. Birchfield gets knocked down in the corner. And the Brahmas will start the breakout back the other way, far side, towards the blue line and out to center. Remy's got it back at the Bugs' end. He will backhand it off of the wall. Deflects over now behind the goal line where it's played by Peterson. Peterson wraps around the boards, up the half wall again towards the blue line. Bank back out to center. Tracked down by Remy Pusateri, overskated it for a moment. Now he gets it back as Sabo will dump it back into the Bugs' end and picked up by number 15 counterpart, Jonah Jasser. Snaps it up quickly for Tremblay. Goes off the edge of his stick, and the Brahmas just barely unable to hold it in as it just trickled out over the blue line. That is offside. Stops time here with 17:20 left here in the third period. I'd like to take this time to remind you that Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplaces, gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantles, and grills, they've got it all. Located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport, or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties, your fireplace headquarters, as the Brahmas will wrap this into the Bugs' end off of the neutral zone faceoff. Owen Case tracks it down behind the cage. Leaves it off now for Evan Adams as he cycles it back to the near side. Flipped off the top of the glass, over Barrett's stick, back out to center ice. Geller's got a tag up as it's dumped back in by Lone Star. Adams up to the center red line, intercepted by Wildfong. Wildfong back into the offensive zone, but he lost the puck immediately as Owen Case chipped it away from him. Case tracks it down in the corner. Now the Bugs start to break out up ahead down the center of the ice. Jared Griner had the last goal for the Bugs, made it 3-0. He gets tripped up into the offensive zone. Nazardine will steal the puck away, works off to the right of his net, slides it up the kick plate, back out towards center ice. Actually tracked down by Nazardine again, and he's knocked off the puck at center. Bugs get a piece of it. Ryan Barrett, he will chase it into the offensive end, corrals it cleanly, then tries to throw it into slot. Lopez Corsi didn't get there in time, so McFadden will start it the other way for Lone Star. Up ahead, off to his right. brought in over the line by Isaacson. Isaacson lost it in the corner, gets it back below the goal line, knocked off the puck by Mitchell Reed as he throws a screen, and John Burnt picks up the loose puck. Johnny Burnt will dump it in. He got the assist on the first goal. We thought he might have scored, but it was tipped by Semengo at the doorstep. So I think at least he gets the helper. So that was his 24th assist of the year, by the way. 15:59 and rolling. Third period, Bugs up 3-0. Played up the half wall, and then John Burnt takes a high hit, gets knocked off the puck, squirts free into open ice for Earhart. At the far point, it's held in for a moment. Lone Star gets it back. Brahma started up for Jackson Bates, goes off the edge of his stick. Eventually tracked down by John Burnt again at the near circle. Up ahead for Gerhardt. Gerhardt through the middle logo. Snaps it for Hoagland. Hoagland fires one for the right point. Deflected by Gabriel up into the netting for a whistle here with 15:36 left to go in the third period. 3-0 Bugs on top, but the Brahmans did a pretty good job here in this third period getting the puck. But as we talked about, Duncan, while you were downstairs, the shot totals are really more indicative of the game than what the scoreboard shows. It shows 3-0 Mudbugs, with shots at the start of the period were 19-17 in favor of Lone Star. They've had their chances. Just Ethan Phillips has been the difference so far.
Oh, absolutely. Ethan Phillips has been an Acme brick wall. Of course, we'll find out what the save of the game is. But again, that's so far, mind you.
It's played at center ice. The music's going rogue there. Now brought in by Semengo. At the left corner, thrown out in front. Remy with a blast at the kick save. Goes far side. Now up top again, Semengo. High slot, back for Remy. At the right point, his shot through traffic is blocked. Rebounder, whack at it, they score! Vinny Giulio on the fourth chance gets it past Leo Gabriel. It's 4-0, and Vinny strikes with his 5th goal of the season.
Go Vinny! All right, Vinny DiUlio, love to see it. Vinny DiUlio able to poke the rebound loose right past Leo Gabriel. Well, maybe not right past, but he still poked and whacked at it. Love to see it. Go Big Purple, love to see it. Bugs up 4-0. All right. And now down here, referee committee having a discussion with, I believe that's number 15, Vladimir Sable.
They didn't like the music playing.
And
I didn't either, to be honest.
No, it was a little, I'll admit it was a little distracting. I kind of got what the DJ was trying to go for here, but I think it needs to be more in the background rather than, at the forefront. Don't get me wrong, and I say that as a marching band kid. So, don't get me wrong. That was a little distracting, but, well, some people will say it was a worthwhile distraction, but as for me, I will say it was a little loud, but hey, you know what? More importantly, Bugs are up 4-0.
Vinny DiUlio, by the way, with the goal is first since New Mexico at the end of January 30th. So it had been a while for him since he had a goal. He had 4 goals in 5 games before that point. Been on a scoring drought, but he gets back on the board. As he whacks at it, and again, DiUlio, he's not going to get any of those pretty goals. He's going to get those dirty goals just like that one. Here's John Burnt, right point. Fires one through traffic. It was ping-ponging around out there. Now it's playing back out to center ice. John Burnt picks it up. He'll turn and burn and fire it down, but it goes off of Scanlon at center. There goes back into the Bugs' end. Below the goal line, it's played up by Tyson. Gets it to the blue line, left off for Nasruddin. Now at the left point, back down for Scanlon. Snaps into open ice, high slot. Oliver with a dance around a defender, fires one, and Phillips got a piece of it to send it over to the wall near side. Nasruddin picks it back up into the slot for Vetacinque. Goes off of his stick back out to center. It's wrapped around the kick plate and goes sliding all the way over far side, where Birchfield will pick it up and leave it off again behind his net for John Burnt at the near corner. 4-0 Bugs, 14:09 to go, third period. Back and forth hockey game, but the Bugs have gotten the better of their chances. Ethan Phillips saved about 4 goals at the end of the second period there in that 30-second sequence. As now it's Cohen up the far side, starting to break out. Up ahead comes Lone Star. And over the line now, down the slot. Big drive, stopped by Phillips. He stepped in front of it and held the pads together to draw a whistle with 13:49 left in the third. And another big save for Ethan Phillips. Going to go play some college hockey after this season in a place that's near and dear to my family's heart. Going to go be a Friar. Providence College committed. Well, that's why Providence College wants him on their team.
Oh, absolutely. And, I've been holding this in all night, but I'm just going to say it. Ethan Phillips staying 6'2", 205. He has a bit of a wider frame than, of course, Tyler Hodges, who is currently on the bench tonight, and even Leo Gabriel for that matter. And so he's using all of that wide frame to keep this a, so far, goose egg on the board as we find out here. Hello.
It's Tavares down the slot. His shot kick saved by Phillips. And Tavares takes a huge hit, goes face first into the boards in the corner. He's slow to get up. Now comes far side, controlled that time by Geller. Geller, far corner, fighting against Owen Case and Evan Adams on defense. Case lifts it in the air towards the blue line, and then Barrett steals it away. 2-on-2 developing. Barrett, right side, trying to hit the trailer in the slot. It's turned aside by Lone Star. They'll bank it back out to center ice. Evan Adams picks it up on top of the Claude logo at center, wrapped behind the cage. Gabriel picks it up, snaps it near side for Liam O'Keefe. O'Keefe up the shadow of the boards to center ice for Jackson Vates, leaving off for Nolan Wildfong, who dumps it in, goes off for a change. Picked up behind the cage by Nandor, and he's going to settle it down behind Ethan Phillips, who stands at the top of his crease, providing a screen against McFadden. This outlet pass doesn't connect with Gerhardt, and that's going to go all the way down for an icing whistle with 12:44 left here in the third.
Of course, all icings this season are brought to you by our friends at Louder's Baking Company. That's Louder Baking Company. And Robert J. Wright agrees.
The D-zone drop coming here for the Bugs after the icing's going to come to the far side. Duke Gerhardt in to take it for the Bugs, and he wins it against Capano, but Lone Star eventually controls the puck in the offensive end. They work it into the far corner, wrapped around the boards. Again, below the goal line where Poloni will pick it up, far side to left of the net. Flipped out of midair by Earhart. Up to Remy skates. He got it up to center to Hoagland before it's stolen back away. Lucier drops it off for Capano. Capano into the slot, poked away from him. Bounces in open ice for Gerhardt. He'll track it down. Up ahead for Hoagland. Tried to hit him on an outlet pass, and he went offside. So he's got to tag back up, and the puck is eventually corralled behind the cage by Lone Star. They start with a 5-player breakout up ahead far side. Dancing around a defender at the blue line, dropped off. Shots there for Lucier, got tipped in front by Remy, who stands at 6'4", right in front of his goalie. That's never going to get through him, and it goes back out to center ice. Dampus will pick it up at his own blue line. Snaps the near side for Lucier, quickly back into the zone. Up ahead through the skates of Vogel that time. He lost it in the corner. Bugs get it back. DiUlio flips it off the wall, back to center, intercepted by Dampus, kicks it to his stick. Split the D, then lost the puck, and he got knocked down. Here's DiUlio back the other way. Will chip it in from the blue line, gives chase against Nazardine. Nazardine shoved off the puck, but Lone Star will wrap it around the kick point. Comes near side, up the wall, towards the blue line. Now sent back into the corner, behind the cage. It's Oliver through his skates. He's whacking at it with Vinny DiUlio there in a good battle down there. Now the Bugs working free to the blue line. Burnt wraps it around, and then Abrama's got the stick of Vinny DiUlio in his hands as he goes down in front of Gabriel. 11:17 to go, third period. Bugs up by 4. But a great game on this Tuesday night. Thanks for joining us wherever you might be watching from on NATV or, of course, listening along with us on YouTube. This is banked out to center ice up ahead. Goes to Vates' stick after it's turned over by Tremblay. Vates cutting towards the slot. He got slashed that time. There's no arm up from the referee. We play on as Tremblay's got it. Works near side up ahead for Birchfield. Overskated it for a moment, got it back. Now chips it around O'Keefe, gets shoved off stride there, and then Birchfield split the D again to get the puck. Behind the goal. Far side will leave it off now for Tremblay in the corner. Changes direction, centering feed, back up top. Goes over Birchfield's stick, up to the blue line for Adams. Adams shot for Charlie. Gets knocked down, and that's going to be a penalty. Back referee Jason Suselski's arms up. And Birchfield got knocked down. He's slow to get up as Jonah Jasper going to come and have a meeting of the mind with a couple of Brahmas as Birchfield is still down on his stomach at the right circle. He got knocked down in front of the net. He's up on 2 knees now. Hopefully he gets up, and while we see if he's able to make it back to the bench, we'll take a timeout. 10:32 left to go in the third. 4-0. The Bugs are on the power play on the other side of the break here on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
This is Ramex Tremblay, and you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
10:32 left, third period, 4-0 Bugs on top. It's going to be a 4-minute penalty on Alexander Oliver, though, so it's a double minor for high sticking against Charlie Birchfield, so that's going to bring the Bugs to a 4-minute man advantage with 10:32 left. And Mudbugs fans, if you're looking for the perfect place to host your next corporate event, birthday party, or school trip, call the front office, 318-636-7094. Book your group today for a great outing at George's Pond. Unforgettable memories for sure. And of course, if you want to come out and make some unforgettable memories here at the Mudbugs hockey game, you've got 2 weeks left to do it. March 27th, 28th, April 3rd, and 4th. Final 2 weeks of the regular season. The Bugs will be at home. So they're on the power play. It's slid back off the faceoff for John Burnt. Left point drive. Rebound comes out for Hoagland. Gets it back, slides it up the far wall. Tremblay gets knocked down along the half all that time. Hoagland comes in to try to grab it. It squirts free for Earhart. Goes off the side of the net. Rebound for Grayson in front. Now Duke's got it. Gloves it down to his stick. Up towards the blue line for Burnt. Down low for Grayson. Bottom of the right circle. Back up top. Nice save that time by Earhart. He wraps it off the boards for Burnt. Up top again. Back for Earhart. High slot. Pulls the trigger. His shot blocked away in front by the Brahmas and back out to center ice. Nice job that time by Wildfong to step in front of it. John Burnt will retreat back behind his net. 9:56 left in the third. 3:22 left on the Bugs man advantage. Up at it quickly. It's Gerhard. He got knocked off the puck and then it's given away by the Brahmas on the clearing attempt. Down low in the corner. Slid back up top for John Burnt. Burnt fires one. That got tipped by Gerhard on the way towards the net. Hoagland tracks it down far corner before it's stolen away from him, and the Brahmas down 4 goals. They're not going to waste a chance on a shorthanded as that's wrapped around the boards. Bugs got a shorthanded goal earlier on. Here's a giveaway right out in front. Phillips makes a big save that time to stop Isaacson, their leading points man. Now it trickles over to the near wall again. Brahmas turn it over for John Burnt. Snaps it open ice far side. Gerhard will rifle it in from the red line. Dumped off the side net that time. Hoagland spins the man off the puck, and it's cleared down by the Brahmas. But what a save that time for Phillips again, standing big.
Absolutely. Ethan Phillips just continuing his excellent play tonight. Love to see more of it.
There's Owen Case. He lost it off the edge of his stick. Bugs get it back at their own blue line on the power play for 2:22. It's always interesting with a 4-minute power play because you're going to see some guys out there that are not used to being on the power play unit with the extra time out there. High slot. Now it's Semengo, right circle. Lost off the edge of his stick. Gets it back at the hash mark. Backhanded up top for Owen Case. High slot. Case snaps it left. At the circle. Bugs control. Back up top for Adams. At the right point. Looking for a play. Sends it down low. Back up top for Griner. High slot. Now for Owen. Case fires one. Trying to get the tip for Semengo. He pushed it just wide. Puck comes back up the blue line for Adams. Adams right point. Crossed ice for Owen Case. Left side. Up top. Griner fires one. High slot. That turn aside. Rebound gets poked just wide. Going to be tracked down by Adams again at the bottom of the right circle. Centering feed left off for Owen Case. Up top for Griner. Back for Case. Case on top of the Landers logo. His shot through traffic got tipped wide of the net. Picked back up by Lonter. They're trying to clear. They did kill off the opening 2 minutes, so the Bugs will not get a second chance on the power play if they score. With 80 seconds remaining and on the man advantage, 7:50 left in the game. Griner back up top for Owen Case. Left point. Down to the bottom of the left circle. Back up top for Griner. Griner, I saw it, lost it over the middle for Adams. Adams got it near side. Circles back to his own blue line. Now it's Hoagland. Hoagland up the middle for Tremblay. Tremblay over the line, lost the puck for a moment, got it back for Gerhard though, he got the loose puck. Grayson down low, right corner, looking for a play. Cycles up to the top of the right ring. He's got it again at the circle. Tried to squeak one through traffic. That one's kicked aside by Gabriel, and it's rifled down the length of the ice. Good clear by the Brahmas 45 seconds ago. They've had to face some shots, but done pretty well in this kill as it started back ahead for Grayson. Drops it off for Tremblay as he pitches in after it. Goes into the corner now. Bucks pick it back up offensive end. On the near wall. Gerhard slides it back to the point. Nobody was home, so John Burns got to track it back to center ice. Hoagland back quickly for Gerhard, and they say Tremblay did not get back on side. That was a close one there, but it draws a whistle with 6:58 left in the third.
Well, sometimes it happens. It's a mental mistake by Willie Tremblay there, and you know what? It happens sometimes, but nonetheless.
It's going to be Hoagland again. Neutral zone just outside of the Brahma end of the near side, right in front of the Delta Utilities logo on the ice. That is our partner of our third period. Delta Utilities know what's below. Call 811 at least 48 hours before digging any projects. Tremblay back. Leaves it off behind the line for John Burnt. Burnt leaves it off now for Hoagland at the right circle. Evan, the righty stick with the puck. Weaves around a couple of defenders. Will dump it in for the blue line, takes a hit. Wraps it around the board's far side. Touched ahead, back to the blue line again. John Burns calling for it at the right point. Gerhardt's got it left side. Now back up top for John Byrne. In open ice, down the slot. Down to the bottom of the circle. That shot pushed wide. Controlled again by Duke. Slides it back to the right point for Burnt. Pulls the trigger through traffic. His shot is stopped by Gabriel. He kind of taps it with the back of his stick into his mitt. Shovels it in there for a whistle with 6:21. And the penalty did expire right before that whistle. So a successful 4-minute kill for the Brahmas.
As they put the Acme brick wall save of the game here. It looks like it was a nice up-close save. And I believe that was one of the ones of that last, 30-second barrage of goals from the second period? Or not of goals, of shots rather, that could have led to goals. Ooh, my mind's all over the place tonight.
That was at least 4 quality chances, if not more. I mean, that one for Capano, who was waiting for it, I still don't know how that didn't go in. But nonetheless, the Brahmans have had a good effort here on this Tuesday. They're not going to be happy with the result on the scoreboard right now, but again, good effort for the guys. And they had a lot of player turnover as well. We'll talk about that during the intermission. This is icing washed out. Bugs will pick it up. Remy wraps around the board's far side. Wolf Talby waits for it at the hash mark. Takes a little bit of contact, but he left it off behind the net for Remy again. Over Poloni's stick, far side again, snapped into open ice. Here's Julio down the middle, through the Mudbugs logo at center. Dumps it in and then gets knocked down there at the right circle as the puck goes over to the far side, the left side of the zone. Held in by the Bugs for a moment. That Wolf Talby battling a couple of Brahmas, but eventually played back out to center. Remy will retreat and backpedal back into his own zone. 5.5 to go here in the third period on this Tuesday night from Shreveport. Remy had to go off the edge of his stick. He'll corral it again. The right circle. Slides it across for Poloni. Up ahead down to the blue line. Back for Remy. Remy up the near wing will flip it into the zone. Gabriel will glove it down off of the boards and cover it up, which with where he is would be illegal in the NHL, but there is no trapezoid in this league. So it's kind of always interesting to see for people who are new to watching junior hockey how these goaltenders play things differently. Just like that one. Again, he's illegal in the NHL, but he's able to play the carom off of the boards, and he makes a nice glove save.
Almost looks like when in baseball, when a ball goes off a wall and they play it able to get the cutoff man. Obviously, there's no cutoff man in hockey at all, but that's just what it looked like to me there. It looked like it bounced off the wall, and he's looking to throw it to second to do the cutoff man. And speaking of which, the anti-pass to the game, as they showed here on the big board, it was Alexander Oliver, who I think, if my memory serves me right, was the anti-pass to the game the last time. But we'll get back to that later on.
Giving away off the wall. Here's Griner, left point. Big hit. That's going to be a penalty. Lopez Corsi draws the foul. And now Barrett is going to mix up with Nazradine. They grab a hold of each other. They're trying to throw each other down to the ice as all heck's starting to break loose. And linesman stepping quickly, trying to diffuse things here with just under 5 minutes to go. And, it's funny we mentioned him being the anti-pest of the game, Duncan. If you flashback, rewind all the way back to the first period, I mentioned it, that Oliver has 11 points on the year. He's not a guy that's going to score, but he's a guy that's going to make a difference in the game, and he's done that tonight. But right as we're talking about him, he's going to take his second trip to the box here in the third period. So he's going to sit for 2 minutes, and the Bugs are going to go back to the man advantage here, up 4 with 4:59 to go.
Yeah, fans are getting pumped up for this Scott Powerline power play, and well, on the power play effort side, I think the Bugs need to get pumped up on the Scott Powerline power play. But just that's all I got to say there.
Yeah, no, Bugs are gonna need that to start working as we hit the home stretch towards the playoffs. Shot, by the way, now 25-22 in favor of the Bugs. They're out shooting the Brahmas 8-3 in this third period, which is interesting, because I think this is one of the better periods the Brahmas have played. But nonetheless, the Bugs have it. Here's Gerhardt, point-blank range. He snipes one past Leo Gabriel for a goal. It's 5-0 as they fed it right to Grayson Gerhardt, who was waiting for it. It's Grayson's 11th since joining the Bugs. It's a power play goal. The power play got working that time.
Power play got working. Puck is actually stuck in the bottom of the net there. He rifled it fast and heavy right past Leo Gabriel to the point where it got stuck at the bottom of the net. But guess what, Zach? S-O-N-I-C, Sonic, baby. Route 44 is all around. Thank you to Grayson Gerhardt. Love to see it.
So for those that are counting, by the way, that is the third time in 5 home games that the Bugs have earned Route 44 drinks. So there you go.
Yeah.
So if you want free Sonic drinks, come to a Mudbugs game. They'll be back at home March 27th and 28th against the Amarillo Wranglers. And well, that'll be an interesting series because Amarillo is out of it at this point, mathematically. But the Bugs are going to have a lot to play for. And this weekend, really, the biggest series against Odessa because the Jackalopes sit just outside of the playoff spot, 7 points back of the Bugs coming into tonight. So that's going to change, assuming catastrophe doesn't happen with 4 minutes and 50 seconds left.
No, but, and you're absolutely right. An important season this weekend for the Bugs to stay up. And even into next week when the Amarillo Wranglers come to town, the Wranglers have had a bit of advantage on the Mudbugs so far this season, but I get the feeling that they'll want to play spoiler and the Bugs will just want to roll on.
Goes up to the blue line. Brahmas have an offensive end. Big drive goes through the blue paint. Comes near side, up the wall now. It's controlled by Dampoose. Knocked out to center ice by the Bugs. Tavares tracks it back down in front of the penalty boxes. Up-ahead, and Vogel was offside. He takes a hit at the whistle, and the linesman again stepping in quickly. And they'll draw a whistle here with 4:23 left. And while we have a chance, we'd like to remind you that Porter's Industrial has been delivering the difference for Mudbugs hockey. Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, providing all kinds of amazing services, floor mats, uniforms, facility cleaning. They do a whole bunch, not only for the Mudbugs, but for Shreveport to go on out and support our good corporate friends at Porter's Industrial. Brought in by Dampoose. Center slot knocked away, and it's ranked all the way down the ice. This is going to spin like a dreidel and go down for icing with 4:11 left here in the third.
Now the Bossier City collision of the game right there. I can't see
a lot of those, too.
Oh, yeah. Looks like, I couldn't quite get a read on who the number was. I think it was Mitchell Reed. I think I could be wrong, but he's been throwing the body around a lot tonight, and I love to see that from him. It's not often you see him throw the body around, but it's nice when you do. Good save, Ethan Phillips.
Azardine gloved down by Phillips for a whistle. 4:04 left here in the third. 5-0. Bugs with the lead. Joe Semengo started off the scoring at the 12:33 mark of the first. His 4th of the season with John Burns' 26th assist. My goodness, he's been solid on the offensive side as well as the defensive side. Willie Alexis Tremblay, 6th goal of the season and his first in a very long time since Amarillo was the last time he had scored. 55 seconds left in the first. Jared Griner is 7th of the season. Remy Pusateri with the assist at 11:51 of the second. And then 2 goals thus far in this third and final frame. Vinny DiUlio with Pusateri and Poloni getting the assist. So that's a 2-point day for Remy, who's got 6 points on the whole year, and he's got 2 here tonight as it's brought in by Vogel. Left side, looking for a play. Fires one for the circle. Phillips makes a stop. Comes near side for Barrett. Up the wall for Remy Pusateri. Sticks it to the blue line for Griner. Griner down the center of the ice. Leaves it off left side for Lopez Corsi. Trying to get it back for Griner. Goes wide of his stick. And it's eventually tracked down by Vinny Geller. Geller gives it away right in front of the net. Cuts towards the slot as Lopez Corsi, but it's intercepted away from Geller again, and he will dump it back. He's got double-digit points on the year, 10 points for him on the season for the Brahmas, and the Lone Stars steal it back away. Into the zone, it's Scanlon. Left side, Scanlon hits the break, circles up towards the blue line. Want to say to his family watching back at home. Now right circle, big drive, push just wide. Comes back up to the blue line for O'Keefe. O'Keefe down into the left corner again. At the hash marks, controlled by Lone Star. Sable back across for Scanlon. He's got it, high slot. Scanlon around a couple of defenders, circles the line. Now it's Cohen. Cohen rifles one, stopped by Phillips. Makes the glove save for a whistle with 2:54 left here in the third.
Whataburger, what a play of the game. And personally, I think the best one was that last goal, but as they got on the big board here, Jared Griner, breakaway, shorthanded, right through the 5-hole of Leo Gabriel. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Wants to say congratulations to Charlie Birchfield's former home, the Aberdeen Wings, clinching with their victory a few moments ago. So they're into the Robertson Cup playoffs. A lot of exciting things happen around the North American Hockey League. Here's a big drive from the high slot for Isaacson, turned aside by Phillips. Picked back up by Adams, leaves it off far side now for Owen Case. Case starts to break out up ahead for Jasser. Hits the brakes and leaves it back off for Owen Case, who snaps it left side now for Adams. Adams will send it softly along the boards. Gabriel plays it behind the cage, wraps around far side. McFadden chases after it. He's got it at the right hash mark, trying to start the breakout. Tremblay will hold it in, sticks it off of the glass, picked up by O'Keefe again, works behind the cage. 2:20 to go, third period. Bucks up 5-0 as Isaacson's got it open ice left side. Into the offensive zone, dances around a defender. His shot off the pads that time of Phillips. Works over to the far wall now. Adams leaves it off near side for Owen Case. Goes through his skates though. He's got to race after it. Brahmas will get a touch on it before Tremblay throws a screen in front of Adams to get away from Tavares. So Evan will settle it down behind Phillips. Phillips providing some defensive pressure there as he sticks his glove out, directing traffic out there. Intercepted by the Brahmas, looking for a play. Nice play that time by Adams defensively from his backside. Here's a shot that tumbles wide of the net. Picked back up by Tremblay, and he lifts it out of the zone to center ice. Brahms were on a change. Icing washed out as Peterson will run the race to it along the near circle. Up head to center. Picked up that time by Vogel. Vogel over the line. Fed it into the slot. Julio touches it ahead to center. Dampoose dodges Samanga, who came in hot trying to steal that one away. Dampoose has it again. Bottom of the left circle. Behind the cage, Poloni will wrap it along the kick plate. At the far half wall, bounces free to Wolf Talby. Goes through his skates though. Now up ahead for Remy. Pusatari's got it. Has the 2.9. Can he get a goal? He gets knocked off the puck that time as he tried to chip it to himself. Takes a check into the corner, but he stands tall on his skates. And then he rifles it around the board. Far side, Poloni down to the bottom of the circle. Looking for a play there. Stolen away by Lone Star. Up ahead to center ice. Final minute here of the third period on this Tuesday night. The crowd at George's Pond starts rising to their feet. The standing ovation starts. They have loving the effort from the boys tonight. 5 goals. They've got a 5-0 lead on the Lone Star Brahmas. Here's Lucier, left side. Over the line, they were offside. Linesman's got his arm up for a delayed offside. Now back the other way, it's Barrett. Barrett through the middle, knocked off the puck. He whacks at it, forces a turnover back to center. Lopez Corsi back into his own end again. Picked back up by the Bucks. 29 seconds ago, they'll settle it down. Up ahead to center ice. Intercepted that time by Lexell. Leaves it off to his left. Now to the right of the center circle. Dancing around a couple of defenders. Gets spun off the puck. Back out to center. Nazardine picks it back up right of the center circle. 15 seconds to go. Rifled around the boards. Bucks will track it down with the Brahmas out of chains. It's John Byrne. He's going to stand in the defensive zone. And now the crowd at George's Pond rides into their feet to celebrate the boys as John Byrne snaps into open ice. The countdown is on. The clock hits 0, and the Bugs even up the season series against the Lone Star Brahmas in the 8th and final meeting of the year. 5-0. A great offensive performance for the Bugs, and most importantly, they mob Ethan Phillips in front of the net. What a performance from their goaltender. 5-0, the final.
Absolutely, Ethan Phillips. Excellent effort and play by the future Friar. And as they were mobbing him, I was noticing down there at the midway point, handshakes thrown around by the coaching staff, the hockey ops staff of the Bugs, the coaching staff of the Brahmas. Of course, Dan Wildfong, Logan Murphy, and William Klein shaking hands with the coach. Of course, the coaches, Jason Tooby Campbell, Brent Smith, and, well, Hunter Robinson, and, of course, Billy T. Welker. 3 out of those 4 names, of course, good friends with Dan Wildfong. Sportsmanship, you love to see it. But more importantly, Zach, as my good friend Trevor only says, no bug boil here tonight. And Bugs get the tasty dub. And more importantly, Route 44s.
So the Bucks score 5 goals, and as we've seen all season long, it's 5 goals and it's 5 different goal scorers as the Bucks will stick salute at center ice to the fans here at George's Pond, who got a heck of a treat here tonight. Back and forth hockey game, and the Bugs get the better end of the scoreboard. 5-0 the score after 3 periods of play. We'll take a quick time out. The Nicky's wrap-up show coming up on the other side on the Bugs Broadcast Network.
Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com.
For those that have fallen, I say, get up. For those that are asleep, I say, wake up. For those that are seated, I say, rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantlets and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is Mitchell Reed, and you're listening to the Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
In a span of 53 games, you got to have fun sometimes, and the Bugs had a heck of a time this evening on this Tuesday. The final time they'll see the Lone Star Brahmas this regular season, a 5-0 victory in favor of the Bugs. It was a great effort for the Brahmas as well, but Ethan Phillips stood tall in net to change the game here for the Bugs. And again, 5-0 victory. With that, they even up the season series at 4 games apiece. So it's, to recap, sweep for us at Lone Star, sweep for Lone Star at the Bugs, split at Lone Star, and then a split at George's Pond with the 2 makeup games, albeit not together, of course, single game appearances. But nonetheless, what a great stop for Ethan Phillips here tonight. And well, the Bugs have a hard-earned victory as we welcome you to the Mudbugs Wrap-Up Show, brought to you by our friends at Nikki's Mexican Restaurant. Don't drink the water, try our margaritas. Today, as Ethan Phillips gets doused with the water shower down there on the ice, he's definitely the star of the game. I don't think there's any real doubt about that here tonight. The Bugs did a better job defensively, still had some breakdowns, though, and Ethan Phillips was able to stand tall between the pipes and are in the shutout victory, and he stopped all 27 Lone Star shots he faced. What a night for Ethan Phillips. And, you know, as we kind of look at that, Duncan, all around, the Bugs had a tough weekend in New Mexico last week. It did not go the way anybody wanted. Friday, you know, they showed a little bit of life late, coming back. Saturday, it was New Mexico's game from start to finish. 3 unanswered goals for the Bugs. But tonight, on Tommy Scott's birthday, the owner gets the best present, a 5-0 victory.
Absolutely, and I honestly think out of all the presents that Tommy Scott has gotten and is going to get, I think his first love, Mudbugs Hockey, delivered the best present tonight. Of course, those King Oilfield Services King of the game. Of course, the third King of the game was number 3, Evan Adams. The second King of the game was number 6, Remy Pusazzeri. And, well, you heard it, but I'm going to say it again. He's number 35 on your game sheets, live stats, what have you, but he's number 1 in your hearts, and he's the number 1 King, Oilfield Services King of the game. Number 35, Ethan Phillips, and the DMG players of the game. There's 2 of them. Number 22, Charlie Birchfield, and number 24, William Alexis Tremblay. So that is good to see from the Bugs tonight. An excellent effort from the Bugs tonight. And I just love it because, you know, I said Saturday night, and I hate to critique these guys at times. And I do, because, you know, you and I both see these guys in and out, up and down, on the bus, at practice each and every day, and they're so talented. And so that's why last weekend really hurt not only, you know, us as a team, but, you know, me on the inside, because I love this Bugs team. This Bugs team, although a lot different than the others in the North American Hockey League, and really a lot different than other Bugs iterations in the North American Hockey League, they are just as talented as they want to be. And nights like tonight show why and how they are as talented as they can be. And speaking of talent and things like that. Bugs gain control of 5th place, 56 points total. Of course, the rest of the standings stay as followed. Lone Star still in first, 77 points. New Mexico, 69. They're in 2nd place. El Paso, 64 points. They stay in 3rd. Corpus Christi with 60. So you get the feeling this weekend's going to be big for that 4th and 5th slot in the South Division. And, of course, like I mentioned, the Bugs stay in 5th place with 56 points. And the Oklahoma Warriors stay in that last playoff spot with 54 points. Odessa, 47. And, of course, the Amarillo Wranglers are down there in 8th with 42 points. And while we have a moment, let's take a look at the rest of the games in the North American Hockey League. I said it earlier, my mind's all over the place. Apparently my lips and my mouth also want to be all over the place. Nonetheless, Elmira, the Aviators, 6-3 over the Rochester Junior Americans. Maryland, the Black Bears, 5-3 over the New Jersey Titans. And as we mentioned, the Aberdeen Wings, the former home of Charlie Birchfield, 5-3 over the Watertown Shamrocks, and they clinch a spot in the Robertson Cup playoffs. And one rest of the world score. It's the bottom of the 9th inning in the World Baseball Classic. 2 outs. Venezuela and Team USA. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Roman Anthony from the Boston Red Sox. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And there are no men on base, so of course there's a mound visit right now. But we're not going to do a live watch along like we did Oklahoma and Lone Star's game on Saturday night. But man, I loved tonight's effort from the Bugs. 5 different goal scorers. Ethan Phillips. I'll be honest, this game could have easily ended 5-4, especially, as we mentioned, in that second period with the barrage of shots from the Lone Star Brahmas. And not only that, it's just an excellent effort, defensive effort from the Bugs.
And you mentioned that barrage of shots in the second period. That really flipped the game, even though the Bugs were on top. Really flipped the game, but well, since it was such a big play, how about we take a listen back? Up to the left of the center circle, and he gave it away, got knocked down by Scanlon. Here's Ventasinkwe down the slot. Around 2 defenders, cuts towards the net, loose to the blue paint. Phillips got a piece of it. Slid back up top, big drive, stopped again in the slot. Oliver fired one, rebound, comes down in front for Scanlon, who pushed it just wide. Phillips keeps it out. 22 seconds to go as the crowd rises to their feet. Ventasinkwe again, right circle, in the slot, knocked off the puck, and the Bugs will start it out the other way. And Ventasinkwe throws a couple of cross checks. So there it was, 5 shots in total that Ethan Phillips spaced in about a 20-second span. He stopped them all, and that's kind of really how the whole ball game went tonight. 5-0 the final score in favor of the Bugs. And again, the thing you love to see the most is the 5 different goal scorers.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
that's huge.
No, it absolutely is. And of course, those 5 goal scorers being Joe Simango, Willie Alexis Tremblay in the first, Jared Griner with an excellent shorthanded power play goal. I feel like that goes understated. Shorthanded power play goal. And that's the 6th shorthanded goal for the Bugs this season. So I love that. I love that the penalty kill can produce not only a defensive side of things, but also, when it's needed, an offensive side of things. Moving on into the 3rd period, Vinny DiUlio and then Grayson Gerhard with the so important Route 44 5th goal on the night. That is a little bit of a recap there. And speaking of things going final in the World Baseball Classic Finals, Venezuela takes it over Team USA 3-2 after Roman Anthony struck out. Gunnar Henderson popped out to 3rd, and one near and dear to my heart, unfortunately. Kyle Schwarber struck out swinging. But more importantly, Zach, the Bugs get the win. The fans and us get the Route 44s. And probably important for somebody out there still listening and telling me to shut up. That's all I got for tonight. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, do good, be good, claws up, and go Bugs. Zach, set us on home.
Tyler Hodges improves to Ethan Phillips improves to 7-6-1. Stopped all 27 shots he faced, and that's his 4th win in 5 starts. So that is really turning it on to Providence College commit in the last couple of weeks here at the season. Leo Gabriel, just his 4th loss of the year. He comes in now 15-4-0-2. And again, he averages giving up only a goal and a half a game, and the Bugs struck for 5 this evening. Bugs are on the road against the Odessa Jackalopes at the Exeter County Coliseum. for 2 games this weekend, 2 important games before they come back home for the last 2 weeks of the regular season, March 27th and 28th. You can get your tickets now at tickets.georgespond34.com. Semengo, Tremblay, Griner, DiUlio, and Gerhardt, the goal scorers for the Bugs. 5-0 victory on this Tuesday night. For the rest of the crew here, I'm Zach Grant saying good night and good hockey. The Bugs victorious.